A busy Rose City is set for a busy night of football. Welcome to tonight's coverage of OFC action between the 5-0 St. Clair Saints and the 3-3 Ottawa Sooners here on We Digital. Justin Prince alongside the Equals as we get set for what should be an intriguing one, the second to last home game for the Saints this season. But pressure on tonight. If they come away with the win, they secure home field advantage for the playoffs next month.
Absolutely, Justin, and that's ultimately the number one goal. Lock up your playoff spot, and in an ideal situation, make sure that the route through the conference championship is here in Windsor, and with a win tonight, or at the very least one of their next three, should lock that up, and let's take care of it earlier than later if you are a Saints fan.
Keep in mind, as the Ottawa Sooners enter tonight, 3 straight victories, but 2 road games left on the schedule. The Sooners have looked solid in their mid-season schedule.
Yeah, and they have definitely improved. They have some confidence right now. They've been clicking. They have some players of the weeks over the last handful of weeks because they've demonstrated that they can win at this level. Last year, just a little bit of a slow start getting back into it, but this year establishing themselves. I'm pretty sure they're likely going to be a playoff team, but that's still some things to be decided going into the last few weeks of the season. But this will go. If somehow Ottawa can pull out a win, it'll pretty much lock at least one of the 4 playoff spots for them.
Lots of pressure as Ottawa has won the coin toss, and they've accepted to receive to begin this first half of play. Tonight's officials: Alex Jemmy, the referee; Bruce Carter is the umpire; back judge is Corey Cousins, alongside Dave Eiselwood at line judge. Field judge Brent Webster. Byron Griffith is the DJ, and the SJ should say is Trevor Hayes. So a busy time for the officials. They're in double duty, the chain grouping double duty with football across the Rose City in full swing. It should be a fun night regardless.
Yeah, a good crew of officials. They've been busy all week because high school football started up locally, so since Wednesday actually, they've been officiating Wednesday, Thursday, today, all over the map. It's great to have this fall season in full swing right now across all levels of football.
Just about all set to go. The Sooners completing their discussions here. Your keys to win this respective matchup tonight. Buddy, what do you consider the keys?
The keys for this, real simple, is going to be, I know Coach LaChance wanted to emphasize getting the line of scrimmage established on offense. No question about it, he wants the offensive linemen to be able to run the ball effectively and efficiently. If Coach LaChance had his way, although I know he wants to throw, if the linemen are making it easy on him and they're running the ball effectively, he won't. That being said, for Ottawa, cliche a little bit, don't turn the ball over because there's already enough talent and enough explosiveness on the Saints team. But if they can run the ball, if there's one little area that has been a little bit suspect on the Saints team, some teams have been able to run the ball. If Ottawa can grind out drives and run the ball and get multiple first downs in succession, they could very well find the end zone and limit the number of offensive chances for the Saints.
Keep in mind that is a strength for the Ottawa Sooners coming into tonight. 6.2 yards per attempt entering the evening. Just about all set to go for the opening kickoff here from Windsor. We're glad to have you with us for Ontario Football Conference action. It's the Sooners, it's the Saints, and it's underway from Windsor. St. Clair setting things up on the return game from inside the 10-yard line. And a quick tackle back inside the 25. And quickly the crowd getting into it on the tackle. Boris Wright on the first return. And deep towards the own territory, St. Clair to start.
I am surprised Boris stayed up there. That was a big man. Noah Nelson, a 220-pound linebacker, came in and squared him up. A good, clean, physical hit. And Lord knows that looked like it was a little more violent than maybe it is. Boris did not go down.
So that brings up the St. Clair offense as they begin the first drive. It's Maurice Socha who starts things off at quarterback, part of the rotation. Starting things off from the shotgun. Looking to pass near side, complete. Got near by the line of scrimmage change. Darius France a couple yards, second down.
Yeah, and I know they wanted to get Darius France involved early. You'll see the replay. It's a quick turn. Soja just going to get it out to his playmaker. But this was a very good close. You see the attention he drew. There was a half and a linebacker, a corner and a linebacker, I should say, expanding out to him immediately. So Darius France, even though he's a rookie, is garnering some attention already.
And France already has been a target amongst the double-digit club entry tonight. 4 receivers with that distinction. Him, Zach Burmeister, Lewis. You also throw in the mix. Second down, 2nd and 7. Going deep down the sideline, caught! And out of bounds inside the 40-yard line. At that time, open space for the reception by Deshaun Johnson. Gets them down the field.
Yeah, and what a tremendous throw. A right-handed quarterback going left, and he dropped that thing in a bucket. Absolutely perfect. We do have an injured Ottawa player, and in his anger, and that's number 6, Styles LePage. He immediately tore his helmet off, and he threw it about 5 yards. Even the Saints offensive lineman immediately signaled, hey, bring a trainer out, because the player was turning over and writhing in some semblance of pain. It doesn't appear that he can put any weight on that left leg right now. Let's hope it's more of the scare, that feeling of, oh, I heard a pop or felt a pop, but it popped back in, if you will. Let's hope for the young man that he's able to come down 2 plays into the game. You don't want to already have to worry about that 8-hour drive home later with a bum knee.
Styles LePage, keep in mind, 4th on the team in tackles coming in tonight, but 2 tackles for losses and a fumble. In turn, just past the 1-minute mark here on We Did It All. 1st and 10 for the 38. To the ground game. Amjoy Doyle Marshall brought down quickly for a gain of a few yards. 2nd down.
Yeah, just a miss of a point of attack defender there. You just inside, you see the offensive linemen aren't necessarily getting to that linebacker depth, and it looked like the middle linebacker found his way through the gap and squared up MJ Doyle. I think there was a double team there, and they didn't scrape hard enough to number 42 for the visitors, and that's Jared Wilkinson, and he made up the ground pretty quickly, and it turned out to be a no-gainer.
Keep in mind, Wilkinson, someone who can make a lot of tackles, 2nd on the team as well in that, coming into tonight's sole tackles. Soja, 2nd and 10, looking for the long bomb. Yuyute on the catch inside the 10. 1st and goal, Saints.
Yeah, and actually that probably should have been a walk-in touchdown. Soja had all the time. Just throw it now, sooner. Get it out. It didn't have to be the full bomb. He was so wide open, he could have threw that only about 20 yards and let him catch and run. Nonetheless, it's still a big completion. It is a 1st and goal now. We already know Soja has a cannon. He already demonstrated that on the 2nd play of the game. And Yuyut he's been fantastic this year on the explosive plays. And there's another example of an explosive play early in this game.
So 1st and goal from the 7-yard line. Soja coming into tonight, 10 touchdowns, 28 for 45 passing, with 600-plus yards. Back to the ground game. Doyle Marshall tries to cut ahead, whistle down inside the 5 as the helmet comes off. 2nd and goal.
Yeah, and it was a hard run. There really wasn't too much of a hole in that, and you'll just see Doyle Marshall. He has to jump over his own guy first to get there, and then he just keeps driving his feet for about 3 more yards until his helmet gets lassoed off of his head, and now it's 2nd and goal at the 3-yard line, and I would suspect this is 3-down territory early.
2nd and goal from about the 3-yard line. And they bring in the fullback. That's Joe Pappin in on the I formation. 4 wide receiver set. Setting things up on the play action. Soja trying to run, trying to spin away. Brought down to the backfield, and that brings out a late flag in turn as the orange goes flying for the first time.
Yeah, this is an outstanding play by the end man on the line of scrimmage who was scraping over the top. That looked like it was the linebacker number 41, Graydon Gill, who forced that back inside and then got the pressure. We do have a penalty on the play. So it looks like it's a rough play, and there is going to be backing them up, and that means it's going to be third down. And now what was a goal situation from the 3 is a goal situation from about the 27-yard line, which is going to now add up to about a 35, 36-yard field goal attempt.
Alex Jimmy once again the head official tonight. And that brings up Preston Knight. It's not been a pretty season field goal-wise. 1 for 6 entering the evening. The field goal unit as a whole, 2 for 7 in 5 games.
Yeah, just not much consistency, Justin. Let's see if the full mechanics works out in their favor here.
This kick for about 34 yards out. The left hashes. 8 on the play clock. Knight gets it up. And gets it on through 3 points to Preston Knight. And St. Clair starts things off with the second make from Knight. It's 3-0.
Yeah, and now this time, great snap, great hold. And I know we talk about like the consistency of the mechanics. We've done that all last year. This year, this was the first time I saw all 3 phases in unison. Good snap, perfect hold, kick pure, got it up over the top, and now he's in a situation where it was pretty routine. Looked like comfortably from 34 yards.
And in turn, it looks like Ottawa electing to take it from the 35-yard line. They set up for their first drive. Now the Sooners offense, the passing game this season, just under 1,000 yards, picked up 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions by the QB, Owen Cowan. He sets up with 2 running backs alongside. First down to the run game. Starting things off running along, Keanu Brown. Brown around the first down markers. Gain of about 11 for the first.
Yeah, real nice run, and that's exactly what we talked about earlier. If you're Ottawa, you want to be able to get runs, and you want to be able to get first downs, and you want to be able to use those to your advantage if you can get lead on them a little bit and keep that offense off the field.
Keep in mind, the run game also very solid. We touched upon the yardage per attempt for the team. Brown amongst those. Now in the 150 club on the season. That's third best on the team. Going back to Brown. First and 10 from the 46. Brown gets to about the 50 as the whistles fly. They mark him around the 49. Second down.
Yeah, and another situation where a pretty good run inside. He did not get touched until he was at least 3 yards down the field. And he was then met squarely, which brings up that second down and about 7.
So that sets things up for second and about medium. Setting things up. 2 running backs set once more as they sort out the alignment. About 7 at the line of scrimmage, 3 moving. Looking to pump, Cowan. Looking to scramble away, throws in the motion, complete for the first down. As that brings them inside St. Clair territory on the throw in the motion. That to Shelton Powell.
Yeah, and that's a nice little job of buying yourself time. You step up into the pocket, you slide, you keep your eyes down the field, and the receiver working back towards him, giving him an available option. And that does get them their second first down, and now they have a little bit of momentum going. Let's see if they can transfer that into some points early in this matchup.
Keep an eye on the slot backs tonight. Marcus Lynch, one of their top pass getters. That was their backup. Slot back to the run game through the crowd. And a stop, block, and push from Brown. Second and about 3 or 4.
Yeah, and the white jerseys up front, they're getting off the line here. They're actually pushing. They ran a little off-tackle power. They brought the backside completely across. It wasn't a counter. They just brought 2 men off the left, around the right, and leaned downhill and picked up a good 6.5, 7 yards.
So they mark it as second and about 2 on the scoreboard, but second and about 4 on the field. Setting up with 2 in the motion. Looking to pass, Cowan, quick read, quick make. Gets across the 30, down inside the 25 on the catch and run. And there's Marcus Lynch. We talked about the slot backs.
Yeah, and that's probably why you saw a little bit of a cushion given there. You'll see here on the replay, he just runs a stop route, and he had about 5 yards in every direction of room. So the quarterback knew he was throwing it to one player and one player only, and they converted another first down. And now they're set up right on that edge of the green zone, the red zone they call it. They're at the 20-yard line going in.
He came in tonight, keep in mind, the most catches on the team, Lynch did. 23 catches, 309 yards. Now, hand off to Brown. Brown sees him open. Pater tries to dive to it. Out inside the 5, first and goal.
Yeah, and the offensive line did a nice job. They completely collapsed. Similar play as they did ran earlier. You'll see the left guard, and it looks like it was the center this time pulled around, but the end man on the line of scrimmage got completely turned into the defense's left, and that was a straight line run. You had to get a safety come over to push him out of bounds, and just like the Saints were, they are set up at the 3-yard line going in, but this time it's first and goal from the 3 for the visitors.
The marking officially at the 2-yard line. Setting things up with 3 wide receivers to the near side. Hand off to Brown. Brown to finish the task. End zone, touchdown, Sooners. And Ottawa's on the board.
Couldn't have drawn it up any better. You could not have drawn it up any better for the Sooners. That was straight ISO, inside run. They're just going to bring a fullback to the point of attack, lead block. He finds a linebacker. Running back only needs to navigate 2 yards. He finds that seam, gets into the end zone, and ultimately, exactly what you want. If you scripted it that way, exact script that you wanted. Go down, 3, 4 first downs, work your way down the field, and score. And on the back end of that, remember, the defense, Justin, held, and a penalty cost the Saints a chance to possibly go for it on 3rd and goal from inside the 10. They settled for the field goal.
So they set up for the extra point, the Sooners do. They get it off, they get it through, and it's 7-3 Ottawa. And keep in mind, Ottawa, too, with a win tonight, would essentially, as the CJFL put it, all but clinch a chance into the Canadian Bowl Championship Series. So the postseason on the line for them, too. They like to get the job done tonight as well.
Yeah, you don't want to go into the last game of the year with an absolute must-win, and you don't want to go into the last game where you need help from other teams on top of that. So as we did allude to in the when we first came on the broadcast, this amounts to a win and in for Ottawa. And for the Saints, of course, it's not just a win. We know they're in the playoffs, but this will lock up that number 1 seed and a home playoff run to go through this St. Clair Saints team.
And keep in mind, that's all with the pressure on amongst that seeding too. 3-3 the Sooners, 3-3 the Hamilton Hurricanes, 2-3 the Quinte Skyhawks, all playing tonight. Part of the action across the province. 6:58 to go in the first quarter, 7-3 Sooners after a touchdown by Brown. That's the 6th rushing touchdown as a team for Ottawa so far this year. Off and away we go. On the long kick, return from inside the 5. Looking for a little bit of space is White, brought down at about the 32.
Real nice return. Boris Wright, hey, last time he got hit hard and he managed to keep his balance and stay up. This time, he's getting a lot of momentum going forward, and ultimately, one of these times, you could find themselves in a situation where the Saints get a bigger return than what they had there, because that was 1 tackle away from going the distance.
So in turn, we set things up for the second offensive drive for the Saints. At this time, they go back to the 2-quarterback system once more again tonight. That's Matthew Gannett under center for the first time. 2 back in the motion. Going to the running game. Doyle Marshall brought down for a gain of about 6. Second down.
Yeah, and that's much better surge this time. The offensive line got themselves dirty, and they got some white jerseys going backwards. And because they were able to get some white jerseys going backwards, Marshall Doyle was able to get his momentum going, and he ran through the initial tackler, number 41, Gilligan, and turned into a 6-yard run. It makes the play calls so much easier. Throw, run, play action, bootleg, everything's on the table right now, and you can confuse the defense if you're in the second and manageable.
2nd and 4, ball spotted at the 38-yard line. 2 back in the motion once more. Doyle Marshall looking to push ahead towards the sticks. Gets close to them. And it looks like called just shy, so 3rd and inches.
Yeah, and they just run a little bit of a counter tray. They fake off tackle to the right, and initially on first look, I thought he was going to get a lot more ground out of that. But unfortunately, he just didn't, and it's going to bring up that 3rd and short. I suspect this is just an automatic goal.
So setting things up with a power look, and that already being told to go to the far side of the field. Looking for the easy first on the push, and it looks like, yes, that is first down. So just like that, the big bodies get it done. But Javier Lewis has been the one leading those presses on the power rush and power looks this season.
Yeah, he just gets under center, and once he feels a little bit of a push, he actually, this time he went sideways first. Good thing that he was able to keep square. There was no immediate penetration, but they did get that first down. Always automatic, should be automatic. There should never be a question. You should always get it.
So 1st and 10 at the 43-yard line. Under 5 minutes to go in the first quarter of play here on We Digital. 7-3 Sooners, your score. Two back in the motion. Back to the play action. Gannett able to find Darius France. Brought down for the first down, a gain of 11.
Yeah, really like that play call there. They do a little bit of an inside run fake, and they take two guys and they flood a zone. They had an under route and an over route just on the out there, and Gannett could have thrown it to either one. He finds France sitting there just in a B-seam curl. Perfect scenario. Easy pitch and catch and another first down.
And that's why Darius France, you mentioned, one of the top targets this season. France coming into tonight, 293 yards, averaging about 29 yards per game so far, or rather per catch. Back to the game on the ground. Doyle Marshall shoves off one, another leaps on top to join the party, and the tackle once again coming in on the jump.
Yeah, linebackers are doing a fantastic job scraping over the top of that. Now you'll see here on the end, you really need to do a better job of not allowing that initial penetration. That left tackle just got himself caught, in essence, flat-footed, and the running back did not have very many options. He had to belly that and bounce, and then the linebacker scraped over the top. Really need to take a better, more aggressive step and set that edge and square him up a little better if you're the left tackle.
2nd and 9, ball spotted at center field. Gannett looking down the field, forced to scramble. Flags up in the backfield. Gannett hard hit as the ball hits the ground. Intended for Bowmaster, but a flag is down. That was prior to the throw.
Yeah, we have a hold. Looked like one of the offensive linemen tackled, and you'll see here on the replay. Yeah, no question. Not only did he tackle, he just lassoed the linebacker on the blitz, and that was number 1, Richard Graham. Actually, he's listed as a D lineman and should be declined here, I would say.
Saving St. Clair, number 65. That play is declined. 3rd down.
And there's the confirmation, 3rd down as a result. And so that brings out the special teams unit for St. Clair as they look to punt for the first time today. Now the punting unit as a whole, 24 punts from Preston Knight, about 34 yards per punt with a lot of 48. And it looks like some whistles going off so they can get the ball into the proper position. It was off by a yard.
We got a broadcast. You know that other one that doesn't have.
So now they have things set to go. Preston Knight, quick snap, very quick. Setting things up for the return this time. Marcus Lynch, the head of the return unit. He gets brought down around the 15-20 yard line. 25 should say.
Yeah, and that was a nice open field tackle by Carl Fabre, who has had a very, very strong season already to this point. Was already a defensive player of the week 1 week. You'll see here on the replay that he comes in and he's the first person to grab a hold of him and bring him down. So a nice open field tackle, wrapped him up nicely. Even though he carried him for a few yards, he has just a lot of momentum going forward for a return man. So nice tackle, and let's see if the Saints defense can stiffen up against the run here, Justin.
Majority of the plays so far have been on the ground. Setting things up to the line of scrimmage, to a back in the motion. Flags up at the line of scrimmage on the rush. Brown trying to juke. Spins back, brought down. Gain of a couple, but multiple flags now up. Near side and far side on that movement after the time of snap.
Yeah, it looked like from my eyes we had an offside from an Ottawa player. So we can't really see it from this tight line angle play, but that is a critical mistake. That replay showed Fabre came hard inside on that, and that's why the edge was available.
And the confirmation, Jemmy just confirming.
So now they picked up a yard on the play. They can decline it and make it 2nd down and longer.
Offside Offside. Ottawa, number 85. That penalty is declined. Second down.
There's the confirmation. They do take the penalty declined. Ottawa didn't even wait for the penalty to be fully announced to the press box to get it already set up in the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, they got about 2.5 yards on the run, so they need a full 7 and change here.
2nd and 7. Ball spotted at the 30. Looking for the pass. Cowan forced to scramble to his right. Looking to try and throw. No. Has to get to the sideline. Does. And appears to be short on the spot.
Yeah, and that time there was just a real blanket coverage. It looked like the Saints dropped at least 6 back into coverage on that one. And ultimately, quarterback had nowhere to throw to. He tried to scramble, but as you can see, he's just a little slower than the defender. It doesn't strike me as too much of a scrambling quarterback, Justin. So it's going to bring up that 2nd down and about 5 because it looked like he picked up third down. Looked like he only picked up 2 yards on that scramble.
So it is 3rd and 5. You say not looking to be that way. Cowan does have the 2nd most carries entering the night for the Sooners. 29 carries, 160 yards on the ground. And the kick is off and away on the punt. Just under 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. Return from near center field. And brought down at center field, in fact, the return. That led by Calhoun. Now keep in mind the special teams unit has had some momentum. Daniel Mumbako, especially last week.
I love the fact that so far they've handled everything, caught it in the air. And in a perfect scenario, they have a 12, 13 yards before they're even into contact. So that set them up at midfield. It's so important because you have to have a return. There's no fair catch in the Canadian ball. You get the 5 yards, catch that thing in the air, and more times than not, you're going to get 7, 10, 12, and even more if you get any kind of seam.
So, approaching 90 seconds to go in the first quarter. From center field, Soja in for his 2nd drive. Looks to use his legs. Tries to get around the sticks. Brought down just shy of them for a pick of about 8 or 9.
Yeah, and Maurice does have this nice, natural, long stride. He looked to his number 1, came back to the middle, and realized, well, I can at least get several yards here. But a really nice open field tackle, and that looks like it was the quarterback, number 33, coming all the way up, and that is Schneider Jean-Baptiste, who came up and made the tackle. A pretty sure-handed tackle, because if he gets by him, he could still be running.
And in turn, the ball spotted at the 47. It's 2nd and 2. Couple more plays left to go in the quarter. I formation look. 2 back in the motion. Back to the play action. And quickly sacked to the backfield. Breaking on through on the rush is Noah Nelson. 3rd and long.
And Noah Nelson has already made his impact felt. He just simply sets up wide and delays a little bit, and he just goes around. Running back just does not find him soon enough. There was max protection there. They had time. Each of the running backs have to come up and step up and make that play. And that was Dante McPhail, who just could not pick up the blitz from the linebacker.
So the 2nd time tonight now, the punt unit is out for St. Clair. And setting up for the return off the bounce and out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. So the Sooners set up on offense once more with 27 seconds left to go in the quarter.
Yeah, a real good kick. Now, there was some pressure there initial, and again, I'm just seeing upbacks. In this case, it looked like it was Pappin who just did not step into the initial block. You have to protect inside out, and you have to give your kicker a little better time. Now, fortunately, that did turn out and no return. Real good kick. Now they're set up at approximately looks like the 14-yard line.
Yes, indeed, on the spot. 20 seconds to go in the first quarter of play. 1st and 10 from the 14. Most of the defenders up towards the line of scrimmage on the setup. To the run game, flags pop up. And a gain of a few once more from the Sooners, but again, a flag is down. That was prior to the running back getting the handoff.
Yeah, and it looked like there was an alignment issue right off the get-go because that came out right away. So we do have another offside, and it is going to go against Ottawa. Now, Ottawa, I barely picked up any yards.
Offside. Ottawa, number 11. That penalty is declined. 2nd down.
Yeah, so that is indeed, now, here nor there, the alignment thing is unacceptable. Doesn't matter what the result of the play was. You were going to be 1st and 15 in the best case scenario. You got to clean that up. Those are mental mistakes when they are pre-snap and alignment type situations.
Last play of the quarter. So with penalty decline, 2nd and 8 from the 16 after the first rush from Alex Barregos. This time, trying to get a little bit different. Trying to run over the place is Lynch. Lynch brought down inside the 5, and it's 3rd and long.
Yeah, and that is a recipe for disaster. If they did this little pop pass, so you'll see the slot back come, quarterback is just going to push it forward to him. When you do that, the bottom line is you cannot reverse track. If there's nothing there, cram it. Take what you can. In this case scenario, they drove this all the way far enough back. Ottawa may have to concede points now when they could have comfortably punted it away.
Yeah. So with that, it's 3rd and 19 once we get the second quarter rolling. 7-3 the score. The Sooners up after 15 minutes of play on We Did It All. Look over at the Saints Nation signage as the Ottawa Sooners have the lead after 15 minutes of play, and already the special teams 3rd down play seeing the safety being taken. So 7-5 is now your score for the start of the second quarter, a 2-point lead for the Sooners. An interesting start to this one. Ottawa looking solid to start offensively outside that last drive.
Yeah, and that you're right. That the game plan was simple. Other than that last play, grind it out, get some first downs, and play good defense, and hopefully win some field position issues. In this case, they did go backwards on that last play, so they gave up the 2 points, but they still have a lead. If you told Ottawa, after traveling down from 7 hours up to 401 today, you say you're 7-5 leading after one quarter, they'd have taken that in a heartbeat.
So we'll see how the second quarter plays out. The clock already rolling. The coaching staff discusses things. The offense takes the field. Gannett for his second drive on offense. Sets up the pass. From the pocket, on the catch back complete. Brought down around the 40. Darius France again the target. And he continues to be a quarterback favorite for both QBs tonight.
Yeah, and this is a long throw, and he put some zip on it, so he got there comfortably. Ultimately, Ottawa is now bracketing Darius France. They're not going to let him get over the top of that. So you just got to be patient. Take the 7 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards that they give you. The one time they slip up, make them pay for it.
So that sets up 2nd and 5 from the 40. 4 wide receivers set up to the left of Gannett. He looks on the handoff, and a quick tackle in the backfield.
And who else? It's the same player who haven't been accounting for yet. It's Noah Nelson again. He's just finding his way through the gaps there, and the offensive line is just missing assignments. They've committed 2 guys to the down tackle and not even identifying that there's a linebacker blitzing to that B gap. That was a simple B gap blitz. It's just unacceptable that they're not getting any hands up on him.
That sets up the punt unit again. Bouncing the ball does around the 43-yard line. Picked up inside the 35. Brought down to about the 40 on the return. That time, Will Kalonji getting the pick up. That sets up the Sooners offense once more.
Yeah, and the Sooners really are taking advantage of there's just this a porous interior offensive line right now. And the Saints can't get any rhythm on their offense because every time they take a step forward, they're losing yards. I haven't seen the Saints have this many lost yards on plays early in a game as I have this today.
Take a look at some of the young fans. As mentioned, football season underway. So some of those are part of the football associations in attendance tonight, especially those are part of the Gremlins part of the organizations, having a full section set up tonight as a timeout taken by the Sooners.
Yeah, wrong personnel on the field, so let's just square it away. Don't make a critical mistake here. Take your timeout. It doesn't. To me, some people say, "Oh, you wasted a timeout coming right from the sideline," but don't waste the possession. That's more important. So in this case, get the right personnel on there, get the right first down play, and move forward with hopefully a successful first down play.
So one timeout remaining for Ottawa. St. Clair with 2 timeouts. Just about 2 minutes into the second quarter of play, the Saints trail by 2. The Sooners with the ball for the 41-yard line. The running game led by Keanu Brown throughout the night. Already 1 rushing touchdown. It's taken just about all but 1 carry for the team. 2 running backs set up. Hand off to Brown. Brown brought down quick. And did the ball come out? Yes, it did. St. Clair thinks they have it. And St. Clair indeed does get the signal. So let's take a look where this came out.
So on the replay, the ball just looks like he was popped from behind, and the ball just bounced. So they're conferencing for a second here because
they want to make sure they got it called down, or if the fumble was a fumble, you'd think.
Yeah, because the chains haven't moved, and I actually did not see an on-field official quite yet signal fumble. Now, the ball was clearly out at some point. We just don't know what they believe. Now, if they call that there was a fumble, they have to agree that that's the call that they're going to go with initially.
And it looks like they're all pointing at a spot.
And there's the official indication. It is a fumble, and it is Saints ball.
St. Clair forces the first turnover via fumble for the Sooners. Statistically, they had 0 fumbles to their credit through the CJFL stat lines entering tonight. So St. Clair takes the ball in their best field position offensively yet since that first drive with the field goal, or rather, since the first drive offensively with the said field goal.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Coach LaChance just lets Soja throw one out. And I actually like to see if they're blitzing the Bees a little bit. Move the launch point. Maybe get Soja rolling to his left here. He's already proven he can actually throw going against his strong arm.
And whistle's coming out. Timeout St. Clair as they look to get the personnel right.
Timeout.
Yeah, some confusion there because the receiver and quarterback were not on the same page there. So, similar concept here. You don't want to waste a possession. Unfortunately, it looked like Ottawa did waste that possession. They wasted the timeout and wasted the possession because there was a fumble on the ensuing play. But now you see Coach LaChance talking to his quarterback here, just emphasizing the importance of, hey, go through your read progressions. He gave him a play call. He's just telling, hey, this is what we're looking at. This is what we've seen in film scouting coming into the game. Identify who, and then pick and make a decisive throw.
And to Ute, a part of that substitution, by the way, with the timeout, Kevin Laria being moved to the sideline for the time being. So 1st and 10 from the 42-yard line after the forced fumble. I formation look once again. Both times so far from this look, it's led to play action. Similar look, similar play style. Play action, looking for the end zone. Nearly intercepted. Dropped inside the 5 on the INT attempt. And that was Sean Moyembe who got the swat.
Yeah, and I love the idea that you want to stretch that thing out, but what I would like to be able to do if you are going to play action, if it's not the vertical, the linebackers came up the middle of the field. You got such tremendous athletes. You have a quarterback who can see, clear out with Lewis like you did, but run some sort of drag out around 15 yards in the middle of the field. Linebackers have already committed to the run fake. Catch and run. The safeties are respecting the deep speed. Maybe Coach LaShawn sees that and takes a shot over the middle of the field soon.
So second and long from the 42. This time designed to the left. Soja forced to run. Looking and gets knocked into Ute short of the sticks. Third and short.
Yeah, and it's going to be about 1 yard short. And yeah, it was his own teammate. He sort of tried to hurdle one guy, and I like the idea. They're going to move out the quarterback, launch point. He can throw this way, but as he gets contact, he runs into Ute. If Ute wasn't there, he probably would have landed ahead of the sticks. But his own man prevented him from getting the yardage, and now we have a 3rd down and 1 at the 33-yard line.
And you can see how tight it got there. The ball indeed set up to the 33. To the power look this time. Lewis under center. Off the slight hesitation.
Yeah, and he's over the pile there. The one official who's right there in the pile already has a spot from my vantage point that has given him the first down. But we'll wait for the official signal here. And you see just a little gentle push, and it looks like he was held back, but he's still going forward, and his knee never touched any actual green grass. So now we're going to see where the spot is. My eyes are telling me it's just enough, but they are going to bring the chains out. And Justin, I think this might be the first measurement of our broadcast.
All season, in fact. We haven't seen really too many chain gain measurements this season.
Yeah, looking at that, where the angle of the nose of the ball, I mean, if he has this, it is not by much. It is going to be marginal. Great camera angle.
And here they come. Going to be imported on the spot location to see if this is first or not. They still have to set up the line of scrimmage chain. And Ottawa likes the position. Ottawa forces the turnover on downs. It is short.
Yeah. My only problem with that is I don't like that Lewis steps back and waits for a seam. I've always been a big advocate of just pushing forward. Don't give up anything off the get-go because you're already guaranteed a yard because you have that 1 yard neutral zone. He does this subtle little, it's like a Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger would pause and then sort of find a little seam to knife through. But then again, Ben Roethlisberger was probably 6'5", 235 pounds. Lewis isn't quite that big, and I'd like to see them maybe lean forward a little more. Let's
talk about the CJFL Power Rankings entering tonight. St. Clair, second in those rankings. West Shore looking very strong again. Saskatoon once again. London 6th. Hamilton 10th entering the week. And looks like a time violation. Yes, the clock is at 0 for the play.
Time violation.
So there goes
first down.
First longer.
Yeah, and not what you want to start your drive with. You're behind now. Maybe a little bit too much of the excitement of, hey, we created a stop on 3rd down and short, and we weren't really ready and crisp to come from the sideline and run a play. Now, I will say this, Coach Morency has committed 8, maybe 9 men to the box. Maybe it's time for Ottawa to take a chance and get something vertical here.
Doing the motion, they go to the ground game first. Flag down to the backfield as Brown tries to carry the defender.
Yeah, it looked like somebody got just pulled down. We'll get the official call here, but
right there, 91.
Yeah. So we got a chop block. We got a low block, and you cannot chop in this league anymore. It's player safety. Any new rule changes that happen are always player safety. So now they can accept the play.
Unnecessary roughness. Cross below the knees, number 68. Ottawa. That's a 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
There you see Alex Jemmy indicate that it's 2nd down. So the difference is with a major foul like that, even though it was in the framework of the play, because this doesn't apply in the college game that we see in the U.S. or in the NFL. You get a major foul, you can accept the result of the play, which was maybe a 1-yard gain, and then back them up to 15, and the down stands. And here you have second down in, 26, 27 yards?
Second down and extremely long. It is a long way from that 27-yard line. And a quick tackle for a pickup of about 3 on the play. Check that, 2. So it's 2nd and 28.
Yeah, very
3rd and 28.
Very conservative play call here. The defense did get that initial penetration, which forced the running back to get off his initial track now. I don't think they're going to concede the safety, considering their defense has played so well, and the Saints, since that first drive, have not been super successful. But he will have his heels in the end zone, or at least on the goal line here for this punt, Justin. So I wouldn't be surprised if they conceded and get this game tied up.
3rd down from about the 15. Already one safety allowed. This time they won't concede one. Punted away in time. And returned well into Ottawa territory. Calhoun trying to move towards the far sideline. Knocked down just shy of the 20 at the 22-yard line. And St. Clair is just outside the red zone.
Yeah, so a little bit of gamesmanship there. The Saints brought a little bit of sort of fake pressure. They did not want to rough the kicker, so they didn't bring everybody, but they walked everybody up to the line of scrimmage on that, which delayed the cover guys from getting down, and Calhoun was able to catch that ball cleanly, make one guy miss around that right hash, and he worked it all the way inside the 25-yard line at the 21. So in theory, they really didn't move the line of scrimmage very much from where they had it, and now the Saints are set up in prime real estate.
So the ball moved up to the 21-yard line to start things off, just a shy yard from that red zone. Gannett, the quarterback, handoff again. And a quick run gets them inside the red zone to about the edge of the soccer box.
Yeah, so that's going to be at the 18-yard line, so they picked up 2, maybe 2.5.
And keep in mind, entering the week, the Sooners did pick up a big win over Quincy for the standings at least. 40-3 was that score line. St. Clair put up 60 against GTA, and the Beefeaters in a very close one, 20-13.
Yeah, and that's expected, because I really do, at least my mind's eye tells me that you got London being the clear 2, but Hamilton not far behind, because last week, 2 weeks ago here, they got beat up. They're a better team than that. 2nd
and 7, meanwhile, from the 18-yard line. Gannett looking to his left, throwing. Lewis, double coverage, into the spot. End zone touchdown, St. Clair.
The best thing about that throw is he got it out immediately. The safety just couldn't get there that fast. Had Matthew Gannett waited a fraction, the safety can make a play on that ball. He got it out quickly. Now you get that punt return paid off. The defense did its job. The offense came out and got an explosive play here. Because once he got his back foot, he threw it. He said, I'm letting my guy make a play. The safety didn't even have a chance to bat the ball. He was just trying to make a hit to jar the ball out.
So the extra point attempt up and through. It's 12-7. And just like that, Gannett picks up his 5th passing touchdown of the season. It's getting to the point where the linebacking coaches are getting into the hype. It's their first lead tonight. Let's take a look again.
Yeah, and I love it. Again, you saw on that drop, a cameras was zoomed in perfectly on the quarterback. His back foot, his right foot hit his last step. There was no clutch. There was no gather. Hit and throw. And then you see the extra point here, the mechanics of it. Down, kick, up, good. 5-point lead. Now the crowd's a little bit more engaged. If the Saints can rally behind this, get a stop, and maybe one more score. Remember, Ottawa started with the ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
You might be able to do the old Bill Belichick where you can score late to end the first half and subsequently get a score on your first possession of the second half. And if you can do the double dip, outstanding.
And that choice of the coin toss could be big, with St. Clair starting to take some momentum their direction. Knight sets up for the kickoff. 2 returners back. And the whistles go off just as the kick goes. A flag is down.
It's a
time violation again.
You don't really see that all that often. But the ready for play was blown in and the clock was going down, and I'm not sure exactly what the kicking unit was waiting for on that. But the flag did come out, so you do have a procedural issue. And now rather than kicking from the 45, you're kicking from the 40.
And so they confirm they have to come back, and now it looks like just about set to get underway on the kickoff in the new ball position.
Okay, so now I think one of the officials, Bruce Carter, who was on the sideline with Coach LaChance, was just asking a question and saying, okay, were we in sync? Was it actually blown in at that time? Because they weren't necessarily under the impression they were. So now we're going to have a pseudo conference, and now we're going to meet with Coach LaChance and see what exactly is. Now, we can't hear what they're saying, but I can speculate.
Meanwhile, let's take a look at Doyle Marshall, because offensively he has been very strong. We mentioned his strength a couple weeks ago with that 184-yard game. When it comes to the season as a whole since then, he's been very difficult to stop. More than 10 yards per rush on average entering the night. 5 touchdowns, 296 yards on the season.
Yeah, and he barely played in the first matchup against Ottawa because he had gotten hurt. So it appears that the penalty is going to be waived off here, Justin. So there might have been a clock malfunction that one official picked up on and provided clarity to the head official. And now the head official, Alex Jemmy, is going to go talk to Coach Lynn and just explain, hey, there was an issue. I was informed of it after I threw the flag. So now we're going to execute this kick from the 45-yard line. And again, the kick is up, but we don't have a view of the actual time clocks from that camera angle, Justin, but the whistle did blow, which is why it was dead and no return at all.
So the ball spotted back at the 45. And it looks like this time the signal's through. The officials all set to go. And let's do this again. 8:25 to go in the first half. Back underway. Return from inside the 20. This time it's Brown. Brown runs it out to about the 28-29-yard line. And so the running back, who has been very active offensively so far, with the return.
Okay, so we're playing a little chess here. Coach Morency is clearly committed into the box to stop the run, which has halted a little bit of the Sooners' run game right now. Do we get Coach Lynn over at Ottawa saying, yes, well, we need to stretch the field a little bit. We need to put pressure on their defensive backfield here to open up the run again? Or do they just try to play bully ball thinking they can run the ball despite there being numbers in the Saints' favor?
So the ball spotted officially at the 29. Doing the motion from the right side of the quarterback on the toss play. Brown goes the other way. Has some space across the 40. Runs out at about the 46-yard line. So just like that, going the other direction, gets the big yards.
Yeah, a great job by the force unit on the play side. But the backside can't flatline that hard. They still have to accept the fact that I might not make the tackle unless it comes back my way. They try to go hard line to the ball. Backside defender has to have a little bit more discipline than that, and that turned out to be a very big run.
So 1st and 10 for the 46. Some more play art this time for the pass. Cowan feeling some pressure, throwing on the motion towards the side to Brown, and along the sideline looking towards the signal.
Yeah, incomplete. It was it was a good effort. His receiver was there. He didn't put the ball in harm's way, which is what you don't want to obviously do. But he forced in, and he didn't necessarily want to roll to his left. But you can just see it was too tight to the sideline there, Justin, and the ball just went through the receiver's hands, and he was unable to bail his quarterback out. And frankly, the offensive line needs to do a little bit of a better job. Now we have an issue. We're going to see what Alex Jemmy, he's calling for something here. Again, looking to the sideline.
And it's 2nd and 10, mind you, as he looks to...
Can we do that? Can you hear me?
There's no flags on the...
Can you hear me up in the booth? Give me a wave if you can hear me. Okay. Could you please tell the music people, if they're up there, when I blow the play in, the music stops. Otherwise, we're shutting it down altogether.
All right. So I hope our audience heard that. So what the referee is saying is you can play the music between plays, but once he blows the play in, ready for play, you got to stop the music so the offense can communicate. Now, fans can yell as loud as they want, but in-house music needs to shut down a little bit, and that is indeed the indication from the head referee. So now the play is blown in.
Well, that was a point talked about by staff coming into the stadium. It's 2nd and 10, regardless. Cowan runs, slides, just shy of the first down to avoid the contact, so it's 3rd and short.
Yeah, and in this case scenario, they're only going to give him when he initiates the slide, so he's going to be about 4 yards short here on this. And look at the slide here. The defender didn't lean into him. The defender was sort of turning sideways to avoid contact. The slide carried him into the contact, so that's clearly not a late hit. There was no intent to drive in. Just the baseball slide carries momentum forward, and he skipped them forward. But now you see a 3rd down and about, I would say it's a full 2 yards, probably closer to 3 here.
So they marked it down at the 53. 3rd and 3. I formation look. Only one receiver out. Trying to go with a handoff. Nowhere to go. No one else in on the handoff, and he loses a lot of yards on the turnover on downs.
I absolutely hate that decision, Justin. Your team is playing well. You are down 5 points. Don't give this crowd and this team an opportunity to have a short field. Now, it's midfield. I get that. Punt, make him go the whole distance. I get being aggressive. It's not a yard. It wasn't even 2. That was 2.5 yards, and the Saints committed to the full-out pressure and blitz. It's not enough. It's not good enough.
So now, as a result of that, the ball spotted at the 50 with 6 minutes to go in the first half. Lewis in the motion. 2 join in. Soja. Looking to pass in towards double coverage, incomplete. Ute the target, 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and that I don't like because he threw it into the underneath where there was the linebacker and the hook to curls because there was no play action there. So a linebacker was able to get some depth into that, and he was able to make a play. That was number 41 who got it. Now, 2 things. There was a corner route over the top, and Lewis was wide open over the top, and he missed that. And France, who was the wider receiver, was actually open. So I think there were 2 alternatives there. He threw it to the worst one.
So in turn, 2 running back set. In fact, the fullback in Pappen to the left to Soja. He helps to block. Lots of pressure around Soja on 2nd down. Trying to draw traffic. He gets brought down for the sack. And that brings them back to their own territory. 3rd and very long.
And also dodged the bullet there for Ottawa. Now, Soja just needs to throw it away. He breaks contain. Nothing there. He tells his guy to go deep. Throw it away. Don't take the sack. The only rule of thumb, you don't even have to be out of the pocket in this country. You just need to get that ball back to the line of scrimmage or near any kind of receiver. And you do not have to be in the pocket. He was out anyway.
That was Jared Wilkinson, his first sack of the season, by the way. Picked up, meanwhile, on the return inside the 25. Looking to try and get some pizzazz out. Lynch, nowhere much to go. And the Sooners take the ball a couple minutes away from the 3-minute warning. And keep in mind at halftime, Dominic Papa standing by for halftime with Dom Papa. Be sure to stay tuned as we look back over towards the return game. Lynch, keep in mind, he's been a big part of the passing game. Only a couple targets tonight in that side of the game.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Saints defensive staff and players are aware of that from the scouting reports and from the video they've been studying. So they're going to try to mitigate that. But to be honest with you, Ottawa's committed to this run game.
They've gone most we run tonight. Hayden Murray, their other main target, by the way, entering the night in double-digit catches. They go to the passing game to start. On cue, there is Lynch. Lynch runs out of the sideline, gets it up for a first down, gain of about 15 on the play.
And when you commit that many to the box, you're oftentimes going to be in more of a man coverage, and you just run a crosser like that with a talented slot receiver, and that's what you end up getting. The pressure doesn't get there, and then you have a slot receiver running away from one of your defenders. In this case scenario, easy pitch and catch, and now they're about at the 49-yard line of their own end, but they've moved it nearer the midfield.
From the 49-yard line, 1st and 10, this time delay draw. On the ground again is Brown. Brown runs out to the sideline to about the 50, and that's enough for a first down.
Yeah, and you say a delay draw. That looked more like a speed draw. It was delay in the sense that it was a drop back, like the quarterback just sort of took a step back. But boy, he hit that hole hard with some speed. There was a subtle pause, but the running back Brown was able to get that with a full head of steam there, and now they're building that momentum that they had earlier where they could get first downs 2 in a row now, see if they can close out this half with points and maybe even take the lead.
From the 50-yard line, 1st and 10. 3 called back to the motion. Play action. Cowan throws off his foot. Incomplete. Intended for Brendan Adams. And that makes it 2nd down. Keep in mind, Brendan Adams coming into tonight. Just 1 catch in 1 game this season.
Yeah, the pressure got there, and it forced the quarterback to scramble a little bit. Well, that being said, he actually put an effort on that. Now, it was just outside the reach. You can see the stripe is wobbling, so that means it wasn't a perfect spiral. Just going to sail on him a fraction, but good effort. The receiver was open. He just wasn't able to get it on him.
Back towards the stacked box for 2nd and 10. Back to pass Cowan. Steps up in the pocket, looks to scramble for it. Nearly trips. Gets brought down around the 45. That makes it 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, he tried to make his juke, and he ended up getting bit by the turf monster. So you'll see here, once he gets to the 50-yard line, he makes a juke, and then his knee buckles a little bit. Fortunately, it looked like he got up because unfortunately, we've seen a lot of turf injuries now with people just foot getting stuck in it, and next thing you know, there goes an ACL, MCL, and Achilles, or whatever the case may be. But now they go for a field goal. Now, this is a long effort because this is going to be spotted at just inside the 51-yard line.
So how does this play out? A 51-yard field goal. And so far this season, 2 for 5 is the unit. And off the crossbar and through. On the bounce. Chad Oleg makes it through, and that reduces the gap to 2.
Good on the coach, knowing that he's got a guy who has just enough luck, because there's really no wind to be had here right now, at least not in a favorable direction, and that he just absolutely got every millimeter of it, and it landed on the good side of the bar because it propelled forward.
And lots of his teammates happy on the kick, and that reduced the gap to 12 to 10.
And now we got the 3-minute warning blown in at 2:57. The Saints get the ball at the 35-yard line after the made field goal.
And to say the very least, an impressive kick once again. That moves the unit, as a grouping should say, now to 6 for 9 on the season. Inside the 3-minute warning. To the ground game to start. And they went with Lewis has the back this time, but that didn't get much of anything, if at all.
Yeah, and Nelson was there again.
And keep in mind, pressure's been big there, but the scoring's been big. The score line, remember, 21 points in the first quarter to start off that season, this season against Ottawa on the road. How things can change in the span of about, 34 days?
Yeah, and again, they're coming on 3 wins in a row. So they have their momentum, so their confidence is there. They've clearly come in here without any fear of the Saints, and the Saints are just not being physical enough at the point of attack.
So in turn, after the run goes nowhere, 2nd and 10 from the 35. Gannett finding his man, and complete. Zach Burmaster. And the ball spotted around the 41-yard line. Third down.
Yeah, they try a little bit of a smoke screen here because you see the offensive linemen don't even care about the defensive linemen. They're trying to get upfield and block as best as possible, but no one was able to get far enough, wide enough. And now Ottawa, who's coming off of a long field goal, are going to bring, well, it looks like we have an Ottawa player injured. The tackler might have been the one who made the first contact. Is Marcellus Pope, number 7. And we're going to have the trainers from Ottawa look at him, but they did force a punt here.
And Pope being checked by the training staff currently entered the night with 8 tackles, but also a forced fumble on the season. Just 4 games played in entering the night. So he makes his way towards the sideline. Keep in mind, this is a team that does have a lot of tackles, yes, but has also been able to keep the scoring pretty at bay when you look at the yardage differences. The passing game has been the big thing entering tonight. They've kept the opponents out of just 436 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, but 6 interceptions for their opponents entering the night.
And they're proving it right now.
Preston Knight to punt. Ball bounces at the 39, picked up inside the 35. And a little handoff. Lynch goes the other way.
Yeah, I don't think it was a handoff, Justin. I think he rerouted and twisted himself around. I don't think there was any exchange of the ball, but he just realized, there's a green jersey in my way, I better retrace my steps and go the other way.
It almost looked like he bounced off his teammate then, But either way, it's hard to go to places. He has been a couple times going the other way.
Well, now Ottawa has a chance with a field goal this time. They don't need the major to take the lead, and we already know the range is 50-some-odd yards, so they don't really need to go much more than 20, 22 yards to get in field goal range.
50 3/4 yards, give or take, with the upright positioning.
Yeah.
3 in the motion. Cowan looks to pass to start the drive in the 44. Having to run again. Brought down, throws it away off his back foot as that gets intentional grounding.
100% intentional grounding, and the big reason being is the ball did not get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's going to be
Intentional grounding.
Outright with the sack.
Ottawa.
Throw comes out on the back, just at the tail end of that clip.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I don't think it goes down as a sack because of the penalty, intentional grounding. So he loses the play. However, it was a huge play for the defense because now it's 2nd down and 15. The clock will stop now, and that gives the Saints a chance if they wanted to keep their timeout for the offensive side if they get a stop here with quite a bit of time.
2nd and long, ball spot at the 38. Minute 55 to go in the first half of play. Back in the movement, quick throw, complete. Picked up this time by Hayden Murray, and Murray gets brought down inside the original stick markers, but it's 3rd down.
Yeah, and sometimes just a little bit of awareness here. The ball was thrown, like they are calling him inbound, so the whistle's going to start, but we do have a penalty here, so we have a low block. So what's going to happen is they're going to take the play, they're going to back him up, and it's going to be 3rd down. They're going to have to punt. So take the play, back him up, make it 3rd down, and the clock will stop because of the penalty.
And the coaching staff from St. Clair just getting the confirmation on all that.
Yeah, so that's exactly what it is. It's because it was another UR, they're going to be able to take that 15 yards back and make it 3rd down. Here's the call. What a huge mistake there, because it does 3 things. 1, it backs you up a ton, so now it's going to be 3rd and a million miles, and obviously the down count, so now it rolls over to 3rd, and because of the penalty, it's accepted. The clock will hold now until the snap. So the Saints lose 6 seconds on that play, but now should get half decent field position and a timeout in their pocket still.
So they set up the punt unit once again. Alike amongst those punting throughout the night tonight. So 2 return men back for the Saints. Turner setting up for about the 35-yard line. Clock now rolls, punt off and away. Bounces from the 50, picked up inside the 45. Looking to go a long way around on the run. And brought down at the 50 on the return. So that time, it was Danny Bumbako on the return. That's the first time we mentioned his name tonight, even though he was a special teams player of the week last week.
Yeah, and he ran about, I'd say, 35 yards to gain 5 there. I would have liked him to maybe turn it up sooner. They obviously must have had a return right to the wide side set on that one. Unfortunately, he did not gain much yards, ran a lot for a little.
So that sets things up, meanwhile, with 1:37 to go in the half. Ball spotted at the 50-yard line. Soja, the quarterback for the drive. Soja looks to pass, tries to get it quick to France. From the 50, breaks one, brought down around the 54 as the helmet comes loose after the tackle. And that gets them to second and short.
Yeah, and they have considerably playing off Darius France the entire time. I'm way okay if you throw that ball 4 or 5 times in a row. Force them to either come up or just keep taking those plays. You have time on the clock. You have plenty of time to get yourself into field goal range if you want to try to extend your lead here. But what you have to be able to do is make sure you take care of the ball here. No turnovers.
Second and 4. Under 90 seconds to play. Clock rolling. 3 receivers to the near side. 2 on the far side. 3 back in the motion for Soja. Looking to try and go sideways complete. Riley, the grip, puts it down for the first down. That, a rare touch for him this season, gets enough for the chains and then some.
Yeah, and the mindset is the same. Their corners are going to play off. They don't want to get a big home run shot. Take what you can. Take the catch. If you make one guy miss like he did there, you can add on 5, 6, 7 yards. If he actually could have kept his balance, he might have been able to get a stiff arm and extend that and get out of bounds. Either way, first down, simple play call.
That's just his second catch this season, by the way. His first was very similar in yardage, 18 yards. This time, 1st and 10, they go straight to him. Let's double that catch count on the night. Second and medium with under a minute to go.
Yeah, and eventually you're going to get a flat-footed corner or a flat-footed half, and then you'll run one up the seam. 3 straight hitches, attack, 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 and then get explosive.
There's the look of the play, marked down around the 32-yard line. The crowd getting loud for second and 4. 33 seconds to go in the half. 3 back to the motion. Soja throws over the middle. Off the hands of Lewis, incomplete. But a flag pops out. Late contact off a shoulder. And now some of the players scuffle.
Yeah, because that was a helmet shot, and you could see a targeting play here where a player gets ejected because the ball was over. Like the defender clearly saw that ball was tipped. Love the design here. Get that underneath route and get that drag route. But you see, it's a defenseless position, and we just got out of that. Player gets hit in the head in a defenseless manner. So now you could get that ejection there. But we're going to see what combination of plays. This was earlier. This was the touchdown from earlier, the lone touchdown of the game for the Saints.
And keep in mind, he's been an impact player throughout this entire season.
Yeah.
Now, as a result of that, having to be checked on the sideline, obviously, with the protocols.
So now we're going to get the call here, and we'll see how much the walk-off is. And I would suspect that we have a targeting call, which means the player's going to be ejected. At least that would be mine.
Let's take a look one more time. And watch after the tip.
And right to the crowd. Unacceptable. And that is just horrific. So what happens here is because it was targeting and there's an ejection, Justin, it's a 25-yard walk-off. 25, not 5, not 10. It's a 25. They're walking this all the way inside the 10-yard line. The clock will stop because of the foul. You have a timeout still, and you're in a goal situation here.
First and goal. Soja bounces off the second tip. Shoots out for the touchdown. And St. Clair extends the gap.
And exactly what we talked about that. If they can score before the half and maybe get a score in the start the second half, you'll see here. He drops back, low pressure again. Linebacker again to him. That was a terrible effort at a tackle and a sack. And then Sojit just lets the linebacker overrun him. He slides underneath that. Broken ankle there and up the field into the end zone. And just, again, such a big mistake. You didn't need to hit that guy. It was an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
It was a dead play after that. Mm-hmm. You gave them points on a mistake.
And the extra point up and through. And
we have a flag, though, before we actually see what's happening here, because was there a line? Again, it was thrown right away, so an alignment issue. If it was on the defense, they can add it to the kick and move it up 5 yards.
And they look to discuss things here. And one more time on the look. Keep in mind, that was Richard Graham, the team's leading sack getter. 4 sacks coming in tonight for the Sooners that he basically bounced off of.
Yep, that was, and that's just not good. You have to make that tackle. You've got to bail out your team there.
So it looks like we'll set up for the kickoff as a result of the discussion on the penalty. 19 to 10. 18 seconds to go in the half, though. And there's the last discussion with Coach Lachance.
Yeah, and we'll get a call.
The penalty is offside on the defense. We'll apply it on the kickoff.
Exactly as I suspected. It came out so quickly. Ottawa was offside, so they're going to kick from the 50 now rather than the 45. And you're just compounding the problems. 18 seconds left here. I can't suspect that Ottawa's going to do anything too crazy. But if they throw and leave time on the clock, the Saints do have one more timeout still, so they could get force a punt and maybe get a punt return, because we know they were very, very good at the return game.
So the kickoff coming up from the 50, and the last of the Sooners set up on the field.
And as they start to blow this in, I'll give a shout out to a handful of these referees. They're on a double right now.
Yeah.
They came over right from the University of Windsor, because the University of Windsor was hosting Queens, and Windsor did win that game, and they hustled over here with 0 break for a 7:30 kick, which is why this game initially was at 7, moved to 7:30.
Kick is away, meanwhile, from Knight. Return from inside the 20. And a quick return to about the 30. Gets it down there. But to piggyback on that, was actually talking with some of the officials down there, asking about the double, and they're more pushing.
They're just getting out of the pile there. There's no pushing. They're just getting themselves out of the pile.
A look on the return there. This time it was by Graham. But was about to say, in regards to the crews tonight, it's not just 4 officials that are on the field tonight. It's the entire chain gang that's set up along the sidelines tonight with the markers. So you're talking about 2/3 of our crew going and having a busy day of at least 9-10 hours of officiating football. Give or take.
Absolutely.
Clock is rolling. This to end the half. And it looks like they may just elect to snap and kneel.
Yeah, and if both coaches agree to that, they'll just take that, run the clock, and they'll go in at the half.
So at halftime, St. Clair leads 19 to 10. It's been an intriguing one for the Rose City. Halftime with Don Papa coming up here on We Did It All.
Like our champions, we know what it takes to win. Every day we put on our uniforms and we strive to be the best. Ring after ring, we keep practicing until it becomes second nature. Our craftsmen have put in thousands of hours to master their trade. And when things get tough, we make the adjustments needed to stay on top. Baron Championship rings. This is who we are.
Yes, indeed. Some great action going on here at the Acumen Stadium on the campus of St. Clair College. Welcome back to We Digital Productions coverage of OFC football. The Saints leading the Ottawa Sooners 19-10. Tough half of football, though. A great half coming up here in the second half. Of course, we like to go behind the scenes when we get into our intermission stuff. And you know what? There's a group that's at every St. Clair College sporting event. It's the SSAA group, Student Service, Saints Students Athletic Association. And this has been a long time with these group. When the Sportsplex was built, this group came on board, and they do all the work, the game day operations. They do an incredible job, actually. And there's always a leader at the top of the heap of, volunteers that participate in this. They're all students. And this year, the new president of the SSAA, hard-working guy, got to work with him last year, and he's doing a great job already again this year. Eric Dominguez joins us. Thanks for doing this with us, Eric. And you can smile a little bit. The game's on. It's all good, and you guys got everything under control. A great crowd here tonight, though. And how did you get that crowd here?
Having students is the first thing that we love to have. Students, I think we had 200-300 today. They always get in free to every single event, St. Clair-wise. And then just having the big group of fans. Windsor football is always such a big, popular thing to have. So that crowd coming, I'm sure there's some people that did both games, Windsor and St. Clair today, come and do both full day of football is a lot of fun.
Yeah, great day of football, that's for sure. Lancers win earlier today. Keep our fingers crossed that the Saints hold on here. The job of the SSAA, Eric, if you can quickly go into detail what their agenda is, and they play an important role here for this athletic department. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. So as much as we do make sure we're working for the students, we do have a lot of game day ops as well. We worry about making sure just athletics and all the people in that staff are supported, as well as all of our part-time staff, all of our part-time employees. They help with some of our VPs, George Karatsias, Brianna Kressler. They help with organizing game day staff, giving them their jobs, giving student jobs. There's probably 30 different St. Clair College students here working, learning about what they can do in the future in the sports and recreation realm. So that's a lot of the stuff that we take care of here at our games.
Is that part of the curriculum, Eric? You mentioned that students are studying sports production, I guess, sports management, things like that. This all fits in with that, doesn't it?
It sure does. I'm a sports and recreation management student myself, and that fits the bill for pretty much every class we have. We do field work where this is what the job is. Our goal is to do this for the school, and that's the biggest thing we can do, but we take students from all other programs too. There's students that want to do other things but want to learn about sports and do this type of thing too. So there's people from all over the school, but definitely in the sports and rec management program as well.
Now, do you have to be a student, or can people volunteer with your group? Like somebody from the outside, can they say, hey, I'd like to help out. I don't necessarily want to do anything else, but I can help out with game day ops.
So majority of the weekly game days are students. However, being at St. Clair, we've been lucky enough to host so many of our bigger events, national events, the Ontario events, and for those events, they're always taking volunteers that want to learn, want to just help out an awesome community event. So there's a lot of volunteers coming from outside of the school for that as well.
So like I mentioned, last year you were part of the crew, and not that you're not part of it this year, but you're at the top of the hill, so to speak. You're the president of this thing, man. So congratulations on that. And that was, I think that was a kind of a goal you set for yourself to learn, participate, and then want to lead this group.
Definitely, yeah. I touched kind of all the bases of what we've done. I started my first year just being one of the part-time workers, doing the little jobs that need to be done. I learned a lot about those. And I was lucky enough to start running in the elections and that sort of thing, getting to know students and getting to interact with students. That was my big thing coming into this role, getting to know students, getting to know what they want to see, and starting to bring that to not only varsity events, but some of the other fun events, the intramurals type fun games that we like to do as well.
this whole St. Clair sports thing right now, the new stadium here, the new softball diamond, the esports, everything that's going on here, the sportsplex, it's a pretty special place. And of course, the students are a big part of it. What does it mean to you and some of your colleagues that get to work and participate? And you're all pretty close to the teams too. I mean, you guys have really good friendships with the players that play. What's it mean to all of you?
It's everything. Like, to be able to be part of something that really is bigger than you, it's really special. And the college cares about us. The upper management cares about athletics more than any other school in the OCAA, any of the other teams in the OFC. They care about our teams. They want to support them and be a part of them, and they talk to us. They want to know what the students, especially people in student leadership roles like me, think we need to do on campus more for sports, and think what we need to do for students, and they take our advice just as much as we take theirs.
So we're about 3 weeks into the athletic schedule, and it's already, I was going to say it's already been a pretty crazy time period, but still a lot of sports to go on. You really have to pace yourself for this thing, don't you?
Yeah, that's the beauty of having the students that we have. My board this year, we're so lucky to have 16 of the top students at our school who want to just be a part of this and learn and just help people. They love what they do, and just like me, they want to be at all these things. So right now there's events probably 4 or 5 days a week between intramurals and varsity. There's hundreds of students coming out to just play beach volleyball or something like that. And then the day like this where we had 2 kids just go on the field and try to catch some punts. They're first year students. They're enjoying it just as much as the kids who have been here for 4 or 5 years now.
Good stuff. You guys get a lot of nice swag too.
Sure do. I started living here, and the only clothes I brought were St. Clair clothes. It's all I wear. Green and gold.
Good stuff. Eric, congratulations first of all on the presidency. Also, congratulations on everything you've accomplished up to this point. It's exciting to see you guys at work. Certainly, it's very important what you guys do, and we certainly appreciate everything you do. I know you help even our crew out. We work together in some things, and very important that we have that with you guys as well. So
I think my favorite part is getting to tell my dad what to do sometimes.
That's a changeover, isn't it? Yeah. It's a pretty good thing to have, that's for sure. Continued success. I'm sure we'll talk down the road.
Appreciate it, Dom. Thanks.
All right. That's Eric Dominguez working really hard for the Saints athletic department and for his own group, the SSAA. We're going to take a quick time out. When we come back, we'll check in with Badia Quas. We'll analyze that first half of football and get you set up for the second half. You're watching OFC football on We Digital Productions.
Good evening, sir. Where are you coming from?
I was just at a buddy's watching a game.
Have you consumed any alcohol tonight?
I had a couple beers.
Thanks. Can I ask you to step out of the vehicle, please?
How many drinks does it take to impair your ability to drive safely? Having even just a few casual drinks can impair your driving ability to the point that you could lose your license for at least 3 days or more.
Hi, honey. Can you come pick me up?
Play it safe with alcohol. If you plan on drinking, don't plan on driving.
Welcome back to Acumen Stadium. We'll continue on with our halftime report. Saints football here on We Digital Productions. They are hosting the Ottawa Sooners. And as you can see, 19-10, the Saints leading after a very entertaining half of football, very tough half of football, the kind of football that this guy likes right here, a little smash mouth football and crash and bang them up, right?
100%. Ottawa's game plan was executed perfectly, with the exception of shooting themselves in the foot with a couple untimely turnovers. That ejection for the targeting led to points just before the half, but they were able to run the ball, get some first downs, and stay in the game, and they are still in the game, only down 9.
Yeah, good half of football, went back and forth. Let's take a look at some of the numbers beneath that first half, and I think it's pretty indicative, except for the passing yardage and maybe the penalties. Ottawa's obviously going to have to clean up that area, but a pretty even half of football.
Exactly. If it wasn't for those penalties, those have been the deciding momentum change. Ottawa put 10 points up, played well, stayed in it, forced the Saints into some bad situations. Their offense has not been all that explosive. Those penalties are the difference right now because, like you said, everything is pretty much even. First downs were close, rushing yards were close, a little discrepancy in the passing yards, but not enough for us to say that's the reason why they're up.
I was talking to a couple of people while we were watching the first half, and they mentioned, boy, St. Clair, they should be beating this team. I said, listen, Ottawa's not a slouch team, first of all. I know they're 3-3, but they're still a good football team. And I said, the other thing is, St. Clair, unfortunately, they haven't been into a lot of heavy competitive games. And you have to almost, we've been through this before with this team, buddy, and you almost have to wonder if that might haunt this team again a little bit. I know Coach LaChance knows how to handle it, but still, you need those playing minutes.
Well, first of all, Ottawa's on a 3-game winning streak, so they're coming in with momentum. Early in the season, they had some tough competition, played the Saints early in the season, lost to them at home. The reality of it is, Ottawa has a good team, a good coaching staff, good players. The Saints, as alluded to by Coach LaChance earlier in the season, a lot of new faces. The one thing that hasn't gelled quite yet is the offensive line for the Saints. That offensive line is massive, but they are not playing as big as I think they can be. Hey, they still have a few more weeks before they need to make a deep playoff run, but the reality of it is if that offensive line can click and gel, then the world is an oyster for them. They can crack open all those pearls there and move forward.
Quickly, I need you to look into that Badia-Quas crystal ball, and the second half is just a couple minutes away. Let's go with St. Clair. What do they have to be careful of? One, not to let this game get away and secure the victory.
Emotions, because what has happened with the Saints traditionally is if they get over emotional and start taking penalties of their own, they will allow Ottawa to stay in the game. If Ottawa doesn't clean it up, that will be their demise. That being said, I think Coach LaChance found a little something, those short passes, the underneath routes, and if he can exploit the middle of the field, the Saints can get their game on track and then really show us what that offensive potential is.
I have to say, you look pretty good in that We Digital swag, man. I'm telling you, they must like you a lot at We Digital. Good stuff, Benny. We'll let you get back to the booth with Justin. We look forward to your expertise with the call of the second half. And that is our halftime report. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, it is the opening kickoff, second half action with Justin Prince and Badia-Quas. You're watching OFC Football on We Digital Productions.
Mott's On Time Express has all of your delivery needs covered with a fleet of 50 vehicles, including cargo and sprinter vans, along with 24-foot straight trucks. It doesn't matter if the freight is big or small. Mott's On Time Express can guarantee safe and prompt delivery service throughout Canada and the United States. Licensed to broker freight throughout North America, Mott's On Time Express features same-day delivery service, along with a state-of-the-art dispatching system and live GPS tracking assistance. Mott's is fully insured and Canadian bonded and has certifications with FAST, CTAT, PIP, and SmartWay. Mott's On Time Express is open 24 hours a day, 364 days a year. To get your delivery moving, contact Mott's On Time Express at www.mottsontime.ca or call toll-free at 877-250-8282.
Welcome back, everyone, to tonight's coverage of OFC football. The St. Clair Saints up 19-10. 30 minutes of regulation to go, and it's been an interesting one. Justin Prince Badia-Quas with you as we get ready for the second half of play. Remember, St. Clair starts off after the coin toss, going Ottawa's receive first half to St. Clair's for the second. So we'll see what happens here for the green and gold.
Yeah, we'll see exactly what the options are. I mean, I know you think that they will take the ball, but I've seen crazier things from Coach LaChance and Coach Morency. Sometimes they want to get that defense and set that tone with the defense again, but we'll see how this transpires. But yes, an entertaining first half, Justin, a close game. If it wasn't for some late ill-advised penalties. Ottawa was really right in the grasp of this thing, down 2 points, within a score the entire time, leading for a good chunk of the game, and now they've stretched it beyond a one-score game. We'll see exactly what adjustments either team have to make. I would suspect for the Saints, it's going to be, we got to find these linebackers in the run game and the pass game. We got to protect a little better and identify who these blitzing linebackers are. For Ottawa, it's got to be 100% clean up any and all mistakes.
Keep in mind, 8 penalties going the way of the Sooners, just 2 for the Saints. What's been a very not so penalty heavy past few weeks for the St. Clair Saints roster. So just about all set to go for the second half of play. Saints will set up for the kickoff here. And this is the different thing you mentioned, wanting to see defense first.
Yeah, because in our opening you said Ottawa received to start, and that's another unique twist here. Like if you do have U.S. ball, you don't really have that option. It's always one receive, one kick.
And they go for a slight squib of sorts, moved up towards midfield regardless. So the Sooners start off with the ball near midfield. And if you look in the backdrop of the sideline, very pumped up, waving team flags as they set up for the first drive.
Yeah, I think this was a miscue. They wanted to do a little bit of a pooch kick, but they wanted that way further to the sideline, probably about 7 yards deeper and about 10 yards wider. Instead, one of the upbacks was able to easily, comfortably play that and fall forward and get the 47-yard line for Ottawa, which is very good starting field position.
That was Roman Reed on the return as they set up 1st and 10 for the 47, 55 yards on the ground, 43 passing in the first half. And they start off going backwards on the ground. Get a Brown losing yards. Makes it second and long.
And he's down. He's reaching for his back or his hip. And that could be a concern moving forward because he has been their best ball carrier on the season and obviously in this game here. But you see a really good job of the green jerseys getting into their gap assignments, not getting out of their run fits, forcing that spill, and then cleaning up the mess for what turns out to be about a 3.5-4 yard loss.
That puts him below 50 yards now in the game. He does stay in said game for the 2nd and 14. All but one back of the motion there. Cowan tries to let a pressure, incomplete. Bouncing off the hands of Shelton Powell.
Wow, and that was close. That was close to possibly an interception in that it looked like Rudy Bulkic was able to maybe tip this here, number 17. But if this does get to the intended receiver, there was a ton of turf for the receiver to turn it up the field. 3rd down nonetheless in a punting situation, and with an average return here, the Saints should get half-decent starting field position.
Just past a minute into the 3rd quarter of play. Glad to have you with us once again here on We Digital. 19-10 the score. Saints over the Sooners. Punt just gets off in time. Longest punt of the night gets inside the 20. Return forward, some heavy blocks. Moved across, Bumbacco. Blocked down inside Sooners territory. And Bumbacco's 2nd return of the night gets the big play into play.
Yeah, and it looked like an Ottawa Sooner came up with that ball, but the referee has already indicated that his knee was down. And what turned out was a great punt turns out to be a great return and knee down, and then the ball rolls out a little bit. Tough to argue with the official there. The knee was down. Unless we go into super slow motion to see if it was moving a little bit, a knee was down with the Saint player hand on it. So it's a tough call there. We really would have to go frame by frame, but I think that was a good call on the field.
So Alex Jemmy waits to blow things in play. Now getting set to go for 1st down. It looks like they'll have to regroup. Now they can group forward. 1st and 10 for the 45. So just starts things off, passing Ute complete. Gets one shoot, pushes off a 2nd, breaks across a 3rd. Gets a pick of about 19-20 on the reception, 1st down.
And we have a flag on the field. Now, I look like a face mask to me. It looked like a face mask to me, and we'll see right here. Right there, it grabbed against the face mask, unless they called a push in the back on the receiver initially blocking. I can't tell exactly. It could have been one of the two, and it looks like the offense is walking back.
On the offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
Yeah, so that there was. At the very top of the route, it looked like there was a receiver, and I'm not sure if that was Darius France or not, but it looked like the leverage on the DB was and the DB was able to come up and force that push from the rear, which sprung that, and now you're first down and 20.
So the ball spotted back at center field. Clock in motion. Just passed a couple minutes now into the third. 4 on the play clock. Soja fakes the throw, hands it off. MJ Doyle Marshall spins forward up the middle. And Doyle Marshall gets it to about 2nd and 11. Now keep in mind that MJ Doyle Marshall, 6 carries, but only 16 yards before that rush.
Yeah, the linebackers, the force unit for Ottawa has done a really good job bottling up the run. The offensive line has not been dominant. They have not been able to get very much push. And frankly, they've been setting the edge relatively well, so Doyle Marshall has had to work for every millimeter of those yards.
2nd and 12 after the spot. Ball for about the 47. 3 back to the motion. Soja looks to scramble. Tries to spin out of the sack. Can't get the full spin around. And brought down to the backfield. That is Yorkie DeMace, who brings up the sack. 3rd and long.
Yeah, again, you got another linebacker who is now just coming. He's just the will linebacker, so it's bottled up inside, and the running backs aren't identifying who or if there was a slide. Maybe the offensive lineman slid left, and running back needs to scrape hard to the right. But either way, they do not pay off that decent field position.
So punts off and away from Knight. While the up man on the blocker spins all the way to the edge of the sideline. And brought down around the 20 on the return, and a second shove down after the whistle. No flags down on the field as Lynch gets to about the 20 on the return.
Yeah,
and now
an unfortunate situation that the Saints couldn't capitalize, but a good punt. They pin him to the sideline. They just didn't finish the initial tackle, but really he picked up 3 yards. Anytime your coverage unit can limit a return to 3 yards, that's an outstanding job and a favorable bounce. So Ottawa was not able to get much on that return.
Once again, no flag on the play. So the ball is spotted at the 20. Ottawa looking to add to the point tallies. It's been a while since their last score. 2:57 to go in the second quarter. They made that 51-yard field goal. They start things off. Cowan on the screen, complete. This time on the play, it's Graham. Right into a sea of tacklers for a pick of about 5 or 6.
So this is the first time out of that sort of counter pull action that they ran a little play action to it, and they tried to leak just a little slot receiver out of that. So you'll see the lineman, yeah, we get the scrum part of it here, but the linemen were pulling across. They faked that counter action run with that wide run with Brown, and they just sort of try to dump this thing out to Graham, and it was actually pretty well played by the Saints in that they only gave up 5 yards there. Those are the type of plays you expect to try to get chunk yards, 12, 14, 16 yards.
That is a look they've seen a couple times this season from the Sooners side. 5 times now catches coming from the linebacker. 2nd and 4 on the toss. Trying to look for space, no space to go. And Brown gets brought down, and some reaction for the crowd as a flag is down.
So I just wonder, it looked like Fabre grabbed the back of his helmet on this play here, and the defense did a great job of shutting this down, and it looked like he got the ear hold. And because he got the ear hold, the defender doesn't
face mask on the defense, number 52, that's a 15-yard penalty, and a
that's going to
first
give
down.
them an automatic first down. And the worst thing about that is you have them dead to rights. Even if you miss that tackle, you got another wave of defenders coming there. And you'll see right here that he gets his hand right into the ear. And actually both hands, because the one hand underneath grabbed the face mask as well. So easy call there for the officials.
And several of the fans, I think that reaction now thinking about it, knew from the angle too. Second down, 1st and 10 should rather say, on the handoff. Brown, on hard contact on the push out. That time it was Billy Patterson on the hit stick.
Yeah, but great run. That's exactly what you want on 1st down. He was able to hit this and bounce it. Now, again, not much containment there. You get the end man on the line of scrimmage actually sealed in, and you got to do a better job. That's number 13, Grattan, who needs to set that edge. He has to force that up the field. He can't allow the running back to get a head steam off the edge like that.
That sets up 2nd in about 3 or 4. And it looks like Coach LaChante's just wanting some clarification here before the play starts.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the discussion is.
Well, there was the music again.
Well, I don't think it was a music related. They were pointing to a clock, so I'm not sure if there was maybe a malfunction or something. I'm checking both game clocks, but things seem to be okay right now, and they are operating.
Just past the quarter of the way, just about through the 3rd quarter. Cowan, throw incomplete off the turf. That brings up 3rd down.
Yeah, and under pressure there. He had to throw that as he was pedaling backwards and just could not put enough power on this. You got to punt here. Your defense is playing too well. You cannot give them field position by not getting a 1st down. Now, that being said, your punt cover unit has not been very good if you're Ottawa. Maybe try to kick this ball out of bounds. Just get it out of bounds. At least if you kick it 35 yards, it goes out of bounds, there's no return. If you kick it 40 yards and they return it 30 yards, you net 10. Not good. So I would like to see them try to angle one out of bounds.
Olenk setting up for the punt and turn. Look over to the St. Clair sideline. Ball from the 44 for the snap. Punter from the 30. And it looks like thought about a different look, took a delay on the punt. And nearly miffed Bumbako. Gets across the 40 and brought down from about the 43-yard line. Solid return. Bumbako brings it to near midfield on the return despite the initial trouble.
Yeah, and again, decent field position. I'm not sure. I like continually punting the ball deep. The Saints have really put some pressure on the last couple punts, and again, maybe some token pressure from a perspective of, and you'll see here on the replay, a good tackle, good physical play from both parties, but maybe just not get it and let them get any head of steam going forward.
So this return sets things up for 1st and 10 for about the 43. Gannett back in. He goes to Soja on the pass. Soja tries to break ahead. Soja gets himself a reception. Well, how about that for a different look?
Yeah, and don't be surprised if you see some sort of maybe setup for a hitch pass where maybe they throw it out to Soja and he's behind the quarterback on the reception and they get a little trickery going. But he's just an athlete. He can run the ball, he can throw the ball, obviously he can catch the ball, he's physical.
And as the PA says, QB to QB there, 2nd down and 4. Gannett sets up with one back, up for the block, tapped at the line of scrimmage and incomplete. So, 2 and outs, going back and forth here.
Yeah, that was a good job by the defense. The rush couldn't get there, and you get your hands up, you bat the ball down. You'll just see at the top of the screen that the pressure just couldn't get there. So listen, I'm going to set my feet, jump as high as I can, and that is one of your top defenders on the edge, number 1. Graham, again, making an impact on a passing play, not with the sack, this time with the bat down.
So Knight having troubles on the punt. Tries to run it himself instead. And brought down, turnover on downs. And a Sooner goes down at the sideline.
Yeah, and he just dropped it. He just dropped it. He's had a decent day punting the ball, and now they turn the ball over on just a miscue. You'll see the ball just went through his hands and was unable to get anything. Maybe try to kick it left-footed at best, but the bottom line is he was tripped up, and down goes another opportunity with half-decent field position, and now Ottawa can try to claw back in and get to a one-possession game here, set up at the 46-yard line.
And Graydon Gill is down just off the play right now. He was just about at the end of the sideline, seen at the back end of the replays. So train staff checking there. Under 8 minutes to go in the third quarter. 3 in the motion. From the 46, Cowan looks to scramble. Throws on the motion to the sideline. Incomplete. It's headed for Ethan Wilson.
You know, you got to come up. You got to make that play for your quarterback. It hit him in the hands. Quarterback steps up into the pocket, scrambles to his left, keeps his eyes down the field, squares his shoulders, and puts a ball on you. I know it's not a perfect spiral, but you have to help your quarterback out there. It's not a perfect throw, but you can make a perfect catch. You have to give your quarterback some help.
So second down. Back to a 5 wide receiver look. One back sets up Brown. Couple safeties to look to step back for the play. Cowan nearly goes with Brown on the handoff. Third down either way.
Yeah, so a little confusion there. Just the timing was just a little off there. And the rhythm did not look perfect on that, because they were trying to do the little delay there. And last time I said Brown was being shot out of a cannon. This time he shot out of the cannon again. He didn't allow for the delay part of it.
Thought he was about to take Cowan with him.
Yeah, so now I suspect they're kicking a field goal here, Justin, because they've already proven that they have a leg on a kicker. So you might as well try a 50-yarder again and see if you can make it a one-possession game.
Well, they'll set up that field goal attempt. This from a little bit further out this time. In fact, a little bit shorter, 49 yards. Looking to try and go 2 for 2 and bring this down to a one-score game. There's 7 minutes to go. Kick is up from O'Lake. And it is good. So the Sooners back-to-back field goal makes from distance of 45 yards or more.
49 and 51. You're averaging 50 yards a field goal here. That is pure. He got every millimeter of this. That ball had enough leg for probably 4 more yards. That was probably good from just inside of 55 yards. Great effort, way to pay it off. At least you got something out of that, and you're down 1 score. You're really in the midst of this game here. Maybe you can come and shock the league and beat the Saints and secure a playoff spot.
A look up to the skies as the half moon is out. They set things up for 1st and 10 to 35 as we approach the start of the fall year. Soja back in. Soja runs ahead for a first down, a pick of about 14-15 yards. Now set up 1st and 10 near center field.
Yeah, flat out, straight out quarterback lead. You see the running back coming through and he's finding first spot linebacker. Actually, they block everybody. He got all the way to the half. And Soja just easily pushed forward to the 50-yard line. Good job by the offensive line. Good job by Marshall Doyle. They did what they needed to get a drive starter going. Doyle Marshall, I should say. That's what you want to do now. If you can get a good 5-6 first down drive here and pay it off, get the momentum back in your favor.
3 back in the motion. Doyle Marshall to block. Soja looking to try and avoid the sack. Gets intercepted. Soja picked off, and the Sooners take over possession. And Soja can't get it away from pressure. It's his first interception as a Saint.
Yeah, and he was trying to throw it away, but just the pressure. Again, I can't keep saying, this was immediate. They brought pressure, and guys are just, it's Olay blocks. You got green jerseys looking the wrong way, and then all of a sudden, you throw it up for grab, and a linebacker is there hanging around. That was number 51. Gorky, who comes up with it, and we already know they're in field goal range.
Dave Mace, indeed, you're referring to, yes, in discussions. It was an interesting topic, the name. But for Dave Mace, the interception gives the Sooners the ball inside Saints territory. Off the screen, on the push. It's Lynch inside the 20, and the Sooners are in the red zone.
Yeah, and you get it to your playmakers. They just a quick little stop route. They get him, and he makes one guy miss. And next thing you know, he adds 15 yards to it. And like you said, they're in the red zone at around the, 15-yard line?
Ball spotted back to the 20. Going short again. This time, only gets about 2 or 3. Second down. Approaching 5 minutes to go in the third. And keep in mind, earlier today, 2-hour matchups. A big one for Hamilton's hopes. 44-23 over Quinte. Meanwhile, London 43-7. They started with 34 unanswered over the GTA Grizzlies today.
Yeah, and then nothing there surprising in that graphic. I would have suspected those two teams winning and winning handily.
Tonight, though, the chance to break through for the Sooners. They set up 2nd and 8 from the 18. Play action and throw just about intercepted. And that was in a sea of traffic. That was Gadi Kazadi who with the drop.
Yeah, and that was Billy Patterson in the initial coverage there, and this ball was to be picked off. Billy had it in his hands, and it bubbled up forward and then just fell through the wickets of his defensive partner, number 16, Kazadi, and now the field goal kicker comes on for what apparently is a chip shot for this young man since he's already made a 49-yarder and a 51-yarder.
So this time it's about, give or take, 25 yards. He'll set things up for the left hash marks. Coming up to 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. 6 on the play clock. Kick is up, and it is on through. And just like that, the gap is down to just 3 back-to-back field goals for Ottawa this quarter. 3 for 3 is Oleg.
Yeah, and just like the way the game started, the Sooners have been able to move the ball, get some first downs. They did force a turnover. They have scored some points early. The only difference in the game right now is the fact that those penalties at the end of the first half have put them in this deficit. Now the Saints are going to get the ball at the 35-yard line here. They really need to mount a few first downs here because their defense has been on the field for, I would venture, I guess, most of this quarter already. They need to get them some rest, so they need a sustained drive here.
So Gannett back in at quarterback, setting up for the I formation. Will this be another play action look, or will they go to the ground? They go to the ground. Doyle Marshall on the last second push gets help forward to the 40. That makes it 2nd and 5.
Yeah, just a traditional old school power play here. You're going to block down, pull and kick, and you're going to find an inside seam there, and the running back is able to push forward for about 5 yards there.
2nd and 5 for the 40. Setting things up with the 4 wide receiver set. Pappen still in on the I formation. Back to Doyle Marshall. Back to the same play type. And this time forward for a gain of about 7 or 8.
Yeah, so this time it's just a basic ISO. The way Ottawa's been playing is they've been bringing pressure inside. So they take advantage of the fact that Doyle Marshall has the vision to, hey, the primary route isn't there. He bounces off the backside. Anyone who has ever watched Emmitt Smith, the old school running back for Dallas, he scored touchdown after touchdown by just bouncing the weak side just like that.
Still I formation. 3 plays in a row. This time it works for a big one. Doyle Marshall gets brought down to the last tackle inside the 40.
All right, and now when you can lean on them a little bit, the defense gets a little tired and they run the counter tray on you. You're going to fake the off tackle. You're going to pull two offensive linemen. You kick one out. You lead one up and under. You find each linebacker. Doyle Marshall was not touched until he got all the way to the point of tackle. And that means that's huge yardage off the get-go. And now the Saints are on the verge of the scoring zone.
Dante McPhail still is in as the blocker. They've now subbed in Boris Wright. Wright this time breaks through. On the diving tackle, breaks ahead to get a sizable pickup for 1st and 10.
I don't know how this guy gets hit so hard and bounces up all the time. I just love his strength and his balance. Like he jumps, cuts, he gets hit, he gets twisted up, and then he gets right back up. It's amazing, and I've been watching him do that since he's in high school. I believe he's a local product out of Holy Names, and he's been doing that for years. He gets hit hard, and he bounces right back up.
They'll set things up with under 2 minutes to go in the third for 1st and 10, just shy of the red zone from the 21. High formation again, this time to Wright again. And Wright this time. Another sizable pickup, tries to show off a touch.
And this is something that the Saints haven't shown a lot of, and the Sooners aren't adjusting to. They're double tight right now, which means the halves are having to come in, but their formation, they're not balanced up front. So there are some natural cutback lanes when they're in that position there. They have not. Like, there are some serious bubbles from our angle right now that they can just run this ball through and find a lot of yards just like that.
2nd and 1, turns to a touchdown. Boris Wright powers his way in for 11 yards.
Hey, that there is just misalignment right off the get-go. Ottawa was not prepared for this double tight set. From 200 feet up high and away, I can clearly see that there's a giant bubble there. They run ISO, and Boris Wright doesn't get touched until he's at the 3-yard line, has enough strength and momentum to carry him into the end zone, and immediately what you gave up in 2 field goals, you get back in a touchdown right away, and now you're looking to make it a 10-point game with the extra point.
Extra point sets up and sails on. And just like that, it's a 10-point lead again with 40 seconds to go in the quarter. And keep in mind, they went I formation, 5-6 times in a row there.
Yeah, and not only but the double tight was the more important aspect of it, Justin, because Ottawa did not get their defense aligned properly. You have to be able to squeeze those bodies down, bring the ends into the box, walk those halves up, or at least walk linebackers up to the end and have your halves stacked. They were just misaligned right off the get-go there, and that was just easy pickings. And Doyle Marshall did the heavy lifting early, and then Boris Wright, just a power back at his stature. It's crazy, but that was powerful running on his part.
The two combine for a drive that sees 60-plus yards picked up on the ground as they set things up for the kickoff. Less than a minute to go in the third quarter of play. Sooners looking for a response. All set to go. Knight brings them forward. And back through the air it goes. Picked up this time by the running back in Brown. Keanu Brown breaks through one seam, jets off a second, carries the tackle pack forward to about the 50, marked to about the 49, check that 51, and just like that, Brown with another big run.
Yeah, and the kicker comes up hobbled here, because the kicker was here to try to make the tackle, and he gets twisted up a little bit and then sort of kicked on the way by. But what a great return by your primary ball carrier, Brown. Just breaks it all the way across the 55-yard line into the 50 of the Saints. And now you're really 7 or 8 yards from field goal range to get it back down to a one-possession game.
So right now, Preston Knight trying to work things forward. A second player on that sequence is also being checked forward in that, Sam McPherson. 1st and 10 from the 50-yard line and off the ground. And back off his back foot to throw it away. incomplete, and that broke down at least 3 times.
Wow, how tough was a play by the quarterback count? Like the ball's down, low snap, he's scrambling, he has 2 men on him, he breaks that and has the wherewithal to at least launch it far enough to the sideline where it not only gets to the line of scrimmage, but there's no chance of it being intercepted. That's just a gutsy play. Good job on him to make sure that he gave his team a chance to keep it at 2nd and 10.
This is the last play of the quarter in turn. 2nd and 10 from the 50. Cowan scrambles up in the pocket, gets across the line of scrimmage, and gets some contact for a pickup about 2 or 3. They mark it about 2 on the pickup, and that should just about do it for 3 quarters of play.
And you'll see here, the only thing I might have liked to see Cowan do here is, once he decided to go, just run one person over, because you've got a kicker who's already good from 52 yards, 51 yards. Now it's about a 55-yard kick if they're going to try it.
Again, 3 quarters of play down, 26-16 the score. And St. Clair gets set to go, as it looks like some quick discussion before we flip sides and start this 4th quarter. And keep in mind, tomorrow, we still have a busy time when it comes to We Digital, because it's men's baseball coming up tomorrow. Coming up from Sault Ste. Marie, the Sault Cougars. Noon and 2 p.m. those respective scheduled start times. We'll see that once again here on We Digital. And by the way, for those keeping an eye, double duty as well for those working throughout the day on We Digital. St. Clair in one of the baseball games today had to come back from the near mercy rule ending of the game to force a 9th inning. Buddy.
That's insanity, and then they have to hustle here. And this is insanity now, because he's going to try a 55-yard field goal. Puck is on the midfield stripe.
Will this work from Olake? From the logo. To trim the gap, the 7 is blocked. Looking for the bounce. Picked up by Adiani. And the Saints block the longest field goal attempt from Acumen Stadium this season and take the ball.
Yeah, and you know what? You go to the well a few times, and it's been great, and I don't disagree with this decision. Your kicker has had it, but that had no chance because the pressure was immediate. The Saints brought heat right up the A-gap, and were able to block it right away. The Sooners were actually very lucky that that ball didn't bounce up more favorably, because had number 40 for the Saints, and that is, I don't seem to have a 40 on my roster for the Saints, but had that happened, you would have seen a nice run out of possibly even a touchdown.
So they start things off 1st and 10 for the 43. Soja at quarterback. This time designed run. Squeezes through the line. Gets brought down for a gain of about 6 or 7. 2nd and medium for about the 50.
Yeah, so you got a double tight eye, and now you got the quarterback. I should say he's in a gun set. But your quarterback is just the same runner as possible. So now you have tight end to tight end and 2 running backs. You got 9 blockers at the point of attack and an athletic quarterback. They just ran quarterback power there, and he pushed forward for almost a full 8 yards.
2nd and 2 is the spot from the 51. Setting up with 2 wide receivers on the outside, extra blockers. McPhail switches from right to left on the read. Design run again. Soja gets across for the 1st down. Scoots across the 50. Gets picked up and driven down to the 40-ish. Soja rides the back of a defender for at least 5 yards to end the play.
Yeah, and that was a simple check with me at the line. You said McPhail flipped to the other side. Soja moved him to the other side saying, hey, the bubble's on the left. We're going to run quarterback power left. And the bubble was there initially. He easily got through for the 1st down and tacked on another 14, 15 more yards. And now they're set up at the 39-yard line going in with a 10-point lead. This could be that one drive that sort of gives them the comfort and cushion they might need.
Phil sets up to the left of Soja. No check here, but this time to go to the right. Soja looking for a seam, jukes ahead, gets across the 35, marked down around the 33, 2nd and short.
Yeah, and that was Soja just doing it on his own. They bottled up inside a little, so he decided, I'm going to bounce as I have enough athleticism to get to the edge. I do not like that arm over with the ball that you saw on the replay, because it can now pop out quite easily, but nonetheless, you are at 2nd down and 5. Injured kicker, I would suspect you're in 3 down territory right now. If you are the Saints, you got 2 downs to get to 5.
2nd and 5 from the 34. You get to the 29 for the first down. Back to the ground game with the running back. Boris Wright just about thrown away, and whistles fly. Boris Wright wanted the play to continue there.
Yeah, he was upset. Again, guy never goes down. However, his initial forward progress was stopped. And from a player safety standpoint, once you are in, they do not want you to get lassoed down. He's wrapped up, he's driving backwards. They don't want him to get piled on. That's the right call from a player safety. I know he doesn't like it, but that is the correct call. You do not get the bonus of him not driving you into the ground. You just get to stay on your feet.
So they will go for it. A couple turnover on downs tonight. Soja just about intercepted, and there's another one.
And you know what? That, I don't know. There was miscommunication because I'm not sure. Darius France did a stop and go, and he had the corner beat. You'll see at the top of the screen, you can see his feet right now. He stops and then goes. Quarterback was not on the same page. The corner stopped. I think they had one there, and the quarterback and receiver were just not on the same page. They had a home run ball, and they missed it. Now they've turned it over on downs. What a great job by the Sooners not giving up after they had that field goal block. They're still really entrenched in this game.
Just past 4 minutes into the fourth quarter of play, 26-16 Saints. Cowan starts off this drive with a quick pass. Move to around the 39-40-yard line. For a solid pickup, Wilson on the reception.
Yeah, a quarterback got it out quick. Fabre almost got his hand, so you'll see here on the replay. Oh, just goes through him. Good blocking on the outside. You're a pickup, 6-7 yards. You're 2nd and manageable. Great opening start.
2nd and 5. And the Sooners looking to try and find their way to the end zone for the first time in a while. How long is a while? How about 6:58 to go in the first quarter? 3 back in the motion. Cowan feeling some pressure, complete. Found to Brown. Brown goes uptown and gets inside Saints territory.
Yeah, and just a little middle screen here. This is that sort of little chess game. Coach Brentzy brings the heat, and they're going to let it go, and they just run a little middle screen. They get the center all the way down to the next level. Didn't look like he blocked anybody, but Brown was able to pick up a big chunk and now get that ball into Saints territory, which, again, they're only a handful of yards away from field goal range to bring it down to 1 yard, but you know they want pay dirt. They want to get it inside of that. They want to find the touchdown. They want to get that 7 points to get it to a 3-point margin.
1st and 10 for the 53-yard line. 4-5 in the motion, and there go the flags on both sides.
Two receivers were way offside. They have to bring this back.
And the clock was at 0 for the play clock.
Yeah, like you got them motioning here. He's sending everybody, yet the snap didn't come.
Offside. Ottawa, number 11. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
This is what plagued them in the late in the second quarter. You can't have penalties when you're in a tight one, because those and turnovers decide games, and they're here to try to get a playoff spot locked up. Don't squander it by stupid penalties like that.
1st and 15 now the play.
And I quantify that. The center didn't snap it. It looked like everyone else was ready to move.
And they're going back to the same play, faking the jet sweep. Cowan, longest throw attempt of the day, to the sideline, incomplete. No flags. That makes it 2nd and 15.
Yeah, Billy Patterson was running stride for stride there, and it pretty much hit him in the back. They tried to fake that little pop pass, and then Billy Patterson's now there in position. He's running step for step. That is good coverage. He did not grab. He did not pull. He just ran for stride. Incomplete pass.
Murray, the intended target. So they set up for second and long. Couple yards shy of being inside Saints territory. Need to get to about the 44 for the first down. Looking on the pass, Cowan. Surrounded by a sea of green and gold, but flags are down.
Yeah, I think there was a hold. I just saw a green jersey getting bear hugged, so I suspect we have a hold. But then again, we got a Hamilton player with his helmet off, so was it ripped off? Yeah, hands to the face. So yeah, you know what? It was ripped off, so this might turn out to be a first down.
There's the flag coming on in, at least 5 Saints there, and a very unhappy offensive lineman.
Yeah, we do have hands to the face.
Illegal hands to the face. Number 13, St. Clair. That's a 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
My mistake. It was called hands to the face, so it's not a UR, so it's not an automatic first down. So yeah, hands to the face, knock the helmet off, and ultimately brings second down and more manageable. It's second and 5 rather than second and or first and 10, because if it was a face mask call, then it would have been an automatic first down.
And the officials just clarifying things, it looks like. So second and 5, but keep in mind, there's still football coming up on the schedule. The next time out for St. Clair, it's on the road against Hamilton. 5 p.m., that starts off the month of October. Should be an interesting one with Hamilton. Remember, there was that matchup earlier.
We have a correction. It's unnecessary roughness, hands to the face. That's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Starts out your memories right on the call.
Yeah, I thought hands to the face or a face mask is a major foul. As it turns out, it is. And there we go. First down.
So just like that, they've now moved it to the 43. First and 10. 3 back to the motion. Cowan. Shuffling, scrambling. And breaking off one sack. Throws on the motion to make the catch. Adams on the reception. Gets inside the red zone. Brought down inside the 15. Cowan, my goodness, has been able to break away several big sacks. That one might have been even better than the first breakout.
Yeah, but that, you know what though? You got to wrap. It isn't hockey. You come up here and you come up with speed and you want to come up and make a violent hit. A violent hit doesn't bring a man down. Wrap up. Get your hands, sink your hips, run your feet, wrap the back of his hips right through his shoulder blades, and bring him down. That is not a good tackle, and look what happens when you don't go to the fundamentals.
That was Gami Kazati on the tackle attempt. First and 10 from the 12, and troubles on the snap. Brown picks it up, and they lose several yards, but still keep the ball. Second and very long.
Yeah, and they got fortunate to get back on that ball. It's going to make the challenge is going to be trying to get the first down or trying to get the touchdown from this deep. But the fortunate thing for them is their kicker has been phenomenal. Despite that one block, he has all the leg that they need from this range.
So now it's second and 22 from the 24. Brown the back, blocker to the left. 2 in the motion. Cowan looking left, throwing deep. And incomplete, intended for Adams in one-on-one coverage.
Awesome coverage, and that was Kazadi this time, 21 instead of, just perfect, stride for stride with him. He ran the route with him, and at this point in time, he's just looking for the ball. That ball is clearly out of the range. Now you dodged a bullet after that dumb penalty and the missed tackle. You're now at least keeping Ottawa in a field goal try.
And Ottawa's trying to get the right personnel on the field for the field goal attempt. So far, a couple kicks going through from 49 and 51 respectively. And it looks like the time is called.
No, we got an injury on the field, Justin.
Yes. There is one time respectively on the boards, but there is a St. Clair Saint now being checked And that is just so happened to be the player who just made the defensive play, Kemi Kazadi.
Yeah, it looks like he's cramping. And I don't remember either team using a timeout, so I believe the scoreboard is wrong. I believe both have two. I don't recall Ottawa using a timeout, so
well,
they've corrected it here, but the game clock isn't showing. But again, I could be mistaken. I just don't remember Ottawa. There they go. So now we have the game clock corrected for 2 timeouts on the main scoreboard, and our ticker is also correct. And everything is correct. The score, the ticker, the timeouts, the time, the quarter, the injury. Everything's all set to go. Now we're going to have this big-legged kicker try a 31-yard field goal.
Can he go 3 for 4 now in the night? 1 block on the evening. Just take a few moments as they bring the St. Clair Saint to the sideline.
Does he not already have 3, Justin?
Old Lake gets set for the field goal attempt. Field goal in the first half, couple in the second half, looking for his third of the half. And this time gets it off just in time and through.
Yeah, so now 4 of 5.
4 of 5, yes indeed. Good point. After all, there were the 3 points from the second quarter. This one was nearly blocked again.
Yeah, but it being so short, he was able to get that thing high and didn't even have to worry about driving this one. So he pretty comfortably made that kick. And now you're looking at a 1-possession game, 6-18. You've traveled from Ottawa. Coach Link has to be saying to his guys, this is where we want to be against the defending champs. The measuring stick in this conference, on the road, a 1-score game, potential playoff spot on the line for us, exactly where we want it.
Starting things off, Gannett on the drive, right on the rush off the toss. Picks up a gain of about 3 or 4. And with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, St. Clair trying to figure out they could stretch this drive forward, try and keep the ball.
Yeah, and in this case scenario, it was a pitch, but I'd like to see the fullback read that end man a little bit better and insert underneath and provide leverage for his running back under that kickout block.
2nd and 6 from the 39. Back to the motion. Gannett this time looking to pass. Lewis and deflected to a different receiver. How about Burmaster in the right place, right time?
Well, I actually think this ball was going to Burmaster. I think Lewis was in the wrong spot. The way I looked at this, I saw it. It looks like he's set to go wide. And it looks like
he tapped it.
He inadvertently tipped it. He shouldn't have been there. So that was a fortunate break for the Saints because the receiver, Lewis, should not have been there, I don't think.
So either way, sometimes it's just about how the play measures up, right? First down to the ground. They go again. And Boris Wright continues the carries forward. They've continued to stay with the hot hand of Boris Wright since the swap out between him and Doyle Marshall.
Yeah, and Doyle Marshall got hit hard on his last run, so there might be just an injury factor as well, because he did get all the weight of one of the tacklers landing full on his shoulders. But a good hard run. There has been no answer to the double tight set right now from Ottawa, and they are wearing down just a little bit. So we'll see if they can at least bend but not break for this play and force a punt.
2nd and 5 from near center field. Gannett looking to throw. Wants it all. Over the shoulder and over the head of France.
And that's the one you wanted. You're doing that inside run out of the double tight, which you know you got man coverage. The only thing that went wrong was I just don't think there was enough air put on the ball. That was a line drive, a strong throw. I'd just like to see him put a little bit more air underneath that and give his running back or receiver a chance to run under it. Big arm, big throw, love the shot. They just didn't pull it off.
So the punt unit's back out. Preston Knight back in the game. 4 minutes to go. And a long bounce. And no yards flags fly as out goes Lynch.
Yeah, no yards. Big deal. He pushed him out at the 10-yard line. It's going to go to the 15. That is as good of a kick as you want. That's actually what I want to see Ottawa try to do. Kick away from return men. let the ball dribble, and if it gets out of bounds, it gets out of bounds. They're just discussing right now what's going to happen with this. Okay, so there is no touch. There is no touch. He goes out of bounds.
Oh, that might be
might be the flag. It might not be no yards. He didn't establish himself back in. He went out of his own volition. He went out on his own. He was not forced out. So that means the penalty is going to look like it's going against Ottawa.
Now let's see which way this goes. In terms of the placement, it looks like the officials and the teams already know it's going to be deep.
Let's see this hand signal.
Illegal participation. The receiver stepped out of bounds. That's a 10-yard penalty. We have no yards on St. Clair. That's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
So they're going to go back 5 yards. They take the difference of the two, and they go back 5 yards. Again, for anyone watching who is accustomed to U.S., a lot of times those penalties offset, and the play just sits on it. But here they walk off the difference. Illegal participation being the 10-yard, the larger, so they back up only half of that to 5 because of the no yards.
First and 10 from the 5. A touchdown difference on the scoreboard. And Cowan feeling pressure. Where are they going to spot this?
It looks like they're going to give him the 1 yard. It looks like he got just back out, which means the ball's going to go back to the 1 yard line here. I thought he got wrapped up in the end zone and didn't get it back out. Oh, it is so close. It is so close. Yeah.
And they can't afford to take the safety. They can't afford to take any sort of measure, or rather any sort of non-points at this point.
Yeah, being down the full 7, any concession of points here puts you 2 scores down, and you have the clock against you as well right now.
Just about to the 3-minute warning. Second and long. Looking on the ground. Can they get out? No! A tackle for the safety, and St. Clair gets themselves a 9-point cushion.
And the defense stepped up big there. Special teams set it up, Justin, with the good kick. And then the defense paid it off with the sack and tackle for loss right now. And now the Saints are going to have the ball back at the 35-yard line, ready to scrimmage here and see if they can ice it with a couple first down. What a tremendous push by the interior of that defense.
I'm surprised they went to the ground game from the 1 yard line, though.
Yeah, because my only concern with that play call is, were they about to concede it if they didn't get it, if they only got back out? So maybe the game plan was to give up the points anyway, so they're okay with that play. A little peculiar. I would have liked them to see if you can get something down the field and maybe you get a PI, pass interference. That might be just enough to put it over the edge, but again, we've seen crazy things on this field, and they're still in it. 2 timeouts, 2:54, down 9. If they get a quick score somehow, they still have a 1-possession game.
First and 10 from the 35. The Saints electing the field position. 3-minute warning is now enforced. A check with McPhail to the right. Soja, designed run. And this time, a little bit more prepared. It's a pickup of 2 or 3 on the run. So second down, keep in mind, men's baseball still continuing a busy time because there's still one more home series for that respective sort. Lambton comes into town October the 5th. That's a Thursday night game, actually. 5 p.m., 7:30 p.m., the scheduled start times here on We Digital. And that's over at Collins Stadium. That's one of the oldest ballparks in the Rose City.
Lot of action presented by We Digital. A lot of college sports.
Softball currently in play, basketball season a month out, volleyball season a month out. A lot going on. 2nd and 7 though on this drive. A lot going on for Soja. Throwing out of traffic, intercepted. Picked off by Pope. And the Sooners take over possession with 2:14 to go.
And it looked like his arm was hit. And the ball came out all kinds of wobbly. So we'll see here on the replay. Did he get hit on the arm? He sure did. And then that is exactly what the doctor ordered for the Ottawa Sooners. And again, with them having such success with the long field goals, even if this drive stalls and they only get 3 or 4 yards. If they can get that field goal, now they're only down 6.
What can they do here? 1 running back set up, 5 wide receiver set. 1st and 10 for the 48. Cowan pumps, scrambles. Looking towards the sideline, several coaches scramble as Cowan makes the scramble work. To get around the sticks, looks to be potentially, yes, 1st down.
And out of bounds too, so that's a bonus on that. So he gets chunk yardage there. The end men on the line of scrimmage can't run themselves that high. Once they feel they're about 5 to 6 yards, they really got to put the brakes on. Again, he's surprising me with some of his speed. His toughness has been there. I'll give this quarterback some credit. He's done a good job of at least taking what the defense can in that sort of run game.
3 back to the motion this time. 1st and 10 this time to 37. Back to the run. Trying to spin out of a sack. Plants himself forward for at least a yard, but 2nd and 9 now coming up.
And that was a very important tackle to keep him in bounds, because if Ottawa doesn't want to use their timeout here, they're going to have to hurry up and get a play call in, because he held on to him, and he held on him. Hold the hips, ride the hips, keep him in bounds.
So it looks like they did not give him that yard on the placement of the ball. They go off the spot of the knee, which was still at the line of scrimmage. 2nd and 10 from the 37. One back set up behind Cowan. Looking to pass towards his right. One-on-one coverage to the end zone. Incomplete. Intended for Olkoff Akello.
Oh, they had it there. They had it. The DB overran the play, and the receiver just couldn't get his balance to come back underneath this route and get to it. He just couldn't keep his balance. He was there to have it. What an opportunity there. And it looks like they're keeping the full offense on the field here. I'm a little surprised. I would have suspected they might at least try to get the field goal and get the points needed to bring it to 1 score.
This could be the game here. 3rd and 10. Need to get to the 27 to keep the game alive. Cowan throwing through some coverage, complete down the side. Lynch tries to stay in. Wait for the signal. Touchdown, Ottawa. And Lynch tight ropes the sideline for 15 yards plus. And with under 90 seconds to go, the Sooners are within 3.
What a gutsy call. Just that sort of post corner, the smash route, and just a terrible angle by number 16, and that is Kazadi again, and just way too flat, and that got over the top of it, and he was able to keep his balance and find the end zone. That is just a big mistake, but a big play by Ottawa. Good on them. Hey, I questioned the call of going for it. I thought maybe get the field goal. Good on them.
They get it over the coverage and turn the extra point, meanwhile up and on through. And with that, it's a 2-point game. St. Clair ball. 28-26, here's the look again.
Yeah, from the slot. Cal was not looking at anyone else. He was looking for that corner, and he underthrew it. But it was just a terrible angle from the halfback, and he gave out the high leverage. The only thing that hurts you there is a touchdown, a deep pass over the top. Why are you playing so forward? Why are you moving in? I don't understand that, and I know that's going to have Coach Norton absolutely livid.
So in turn, Sooners setting up for the kickoff, and St. Clair only 1 return man back on the field.
Because they're going to have their hands team on. I suspect that Ottawa is going to try an onside kick, even though they don't have to. They could try to drive this thing deep and play some coverage. They got 2 timeouts still in 1:26.
And it looks like they will look at the onside kick formation. And now Oleg trying to get back to position as he moves back away from said initial spot. One returnment back for St. Clair if they choose to go long. And they elect to go squib. Onside kicks to mix squib. Either way, center field. And the Saints not able to squib away and squiggle away from the tackles.
Yeah.
Minute 24 to go.
And there's something fundamentally that I agree with that play. Lewis catches it. Go down. You're in a scrum there. What if it gets ripped out on you? They're going to have the ball right there. The only thing that matters for you there is possession, not a score. You're winning. That's something that I would definitely be addressing in film, and I'd be literally, if I'm the special teams coach, I'm pulling him aside. Go down. I don't care about anything else. Now let's see if this offense that has been inconsistent can find a critical first down to ice this game.
I formation, 1st and 10. Ball spotted from the 54. To the ground game. And MJ Doyle Marshall returns to the game with an 8-yard rush, 2nd and short.
And that's your moneymaker right there. It's just a downhill ISO run, and they get some good push. In the 4th quarter, this is when you really need your bigs to step up and lean on them. They've done a better job. Again, this double tight has created some running seams. Ottawa has yet to really counter that with any kind of alignment. Now this time they have what looks like a goal line defense set in.
Looking for the power. Can they get the push?
And it looks like they're just fractionally short based on the spots from the side judge. But we'll see where the umpire in the middle puts it down. And if it is just short, we're going to have a 3rd down.
Keep in mind, later on in the week, on top of things, soccer coming up. Saturday, September 30th, 2 and 4 p.m. Niagara Knights to start off that season. And there is a player down, and they have given the first down, but it's Lewis, the one who went for the power, down.
Yeah, and I'm suspecting it's a cramp. They're reaching for it just like that.
So just like that, with a minute 2 to go, both timeouts still available if necessary. And the ball, once play gets back going from the 44.
And the trainer is handling the situation much like you see with a cramp. It's like a calf cramp. They're pulling the toe up for you.
And Lewis moves over to the sideline. But the Sooners running out of time. And no matter how this game finishes, this is a very different outcome, I think, than some people expected coming in.
Yeah, outsiders. I know the Saints and people in the league know Ottawa's played significantly better.
Especially this past month.
And Ottawa has not elected to use a timeout right now, so the Saints aren't going to snap this until there's about 2 seconds left on this clock here.
5 on the play clock when they snapped it this time. MJ Doyle Marshall gets brought down for a gain of maybe 1 or 2 at the forward progress. 2nd down with 42 seconds left.
Yeah, and it looks like we'll get our first timeout from Ottawa here.
And right there's the forward progress as he tries to break away. And in turn, 2nd and long. See, he starts running the wrong way, actually.
Yeah, well, he was getting pushed backwards by some big bodies there. Now, without getting too cute or crazy, if you are going to try something that is a little different, maybe you try a naked boot with Gannett. He's athletic. Maybe he can find his way around a corner.
2nd and 8. Again, Ottawa just used their first of 2 timeouts. I formation. Do they go ISO again? They do. Doyle Marshall breaks through the layers. MJ Doyle Marshall with a solid run.
Yeah, and it looks like they're indicating a first down. I see the far side judge, and it looks like they have the first down.
It's close. And the official hasn't fully signaled. It is very close based on that spot.
And we're going to get our second measurement. The last measurement went in favor of the Sooners. Now, again, this is still only second down, so the Saints will have an opportunity to ice it if they go. But, yeah, they went ISO once again, and you see Doyle Marshall following his fullback into the pocket. Maybe the spot was a little lacking. From my first look, I thought he had it pretty easily. But this spot looks like it's just a little shorter than I would have suspected. But let's get this perfect camera look here.
They're trying to get the positions right on the chains, and it is short again. So it's 3rd and inches. Now what do you do?
There's not what you do. You go quarterback sneak again and you get it forward. There's no what
yes. With 36 seconds to go.
Even if you turn it over down here, no problem. It's not your ideal situation, but you are going. You're not.
And they're trying it again. And
no, they just have to bring it to officially make sure it was those little chain links, Justin. So they bring the chains in. They put them back down and say we're 2 inches down. Now, Ottawa should be using their 3rd and final timeout here. And if they don't, they're going to wind this in. Or, sorry, their 2nd timeout.
So Gannett coming from the sideline, a look over to the grandstand.
I don't remember seeing an indication of a timeout. No, they didn't, and the clock is wound in. So now the Saints are going to be able to bring this all the way down to 1 second.
And the Sooners not indicating they want to use the timeout. I-formation look, 4 on the play clock, the handoff, Doyle Marshall ices the game with a run across the 20, brought down inside the 15, and that should just about do it.
So you give them ISO, you give them ISO, you give them ISO, and you bounce one. Because they're all going to pitch inside thinking they're going to wedge forward, and you give it to maybe the best back in the conference, and he finds a lot of green grass there. So I would suspect you can take a knee here. Ottawa does have 1 timeout, but that's not going to be enough to stop this.
So now, should just about close things out here. Yeah. Clock is already rolling.
And Ottawa is not using their timeout. And it looks like they've conceded that they're just going to kneel it down here. And boy, did they pick this up by the hair on their chinny chin chin.
The St. Clair Saints take a knee. The game is over. The Saints pick up the victory and stay at 6-0 on the season to secure home field advantage in the playoffs. 28-26 your final, Saints over the Sooners. An exciting one to say the very least. Dominic Papa getting set alongside the sidelines. We'll be joining him in just a few moments. Once again, you're watching We Digital. 28-26, Saints to score.
Wow. That was a good football game.
Some great runbacks.
Once again, remember, one more home game left on the schedule before we close things out for the regular season. Quinty still to come into town in a few weeks' time. That going to be the one that closed out the campaign, originally scheduled to be the season opener here in the Rose City. Let's take a look at some plays. We'll join Tom Papa in just a few moments, sideline, for post-game coverage here on We Digital.
Back here on field level, the Saints continue their winning ways. They remain perfect in this OFC season. It wasn't without a battle, though. The Ottawa Sooners came in and played hard. Coach Mike LaChance celebrating another victory. Give me a quick overview of this game here, Coach.
Well, Ottawa came out flying. Their defense was flying. Linebacker Noah Nelson and their defensive end Graham, they were really moving. They were hard to block, and they gave us a lot of trouble. They played much better this game than they did when we were in Ottawa, that's for sure.
Yeah, this looks like a team that's going in the right direction despite the loss. What about your team, Coach? I know, again, you're playing teams. You're not getting to play your full roster all the time. Is the progress there that you're hoping to see, and how much more work you got to put in with a couple more regular season games?
We got to clean up some things, but I told our guys, the playoffs aren't easy. Great job, Noah. I told our guys, playoffs aren't easy, and you're going to have to run the ball in the fourth quarter to win a game, and we did that today. We ran the ball in the fourth quarter for probably 200 yards, and that won the game. If we couldn't run the ball, they would have found ways to kick field goals and win.
Found a couple of weapons there, one of them being the quarterback / running back, Maurice Soja. He kind of brings that to the table here. I'm sure that's something when you recruited him, you said, I can use this guy in many different ways.
Yeah, I think he's the best athlete in the country at our level, and I've got to find more creative ways to design the offense around him, let him do his thing, and he's got to do. I've challenged him all year to do the little things better. He can make the big play. He's got to settle down on the easy one. But boy, is he fun to watch, right?
Oh, he's a blast, no question.
Awesome.
Doyle Marshall too. Got to give him a shout out. Boy, he seemed just be clutch here tonight.
Yeah, and like I said, I challenged our offensive line at halftime. I challenged MJ and the running back group at halftime that we need to put the foot in the ground and run the football and work some time off the clock and let our defense rest a little bit. And we did a great job at that. So defense played well, and offensively we did what we had to do.
All right, Coach, I know the team's waiting for you. I'll let you get over there. Congrats on the win. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Appreciate it.
Coach Mike LaChance celebrating another victory here tonight. Capacity crowd here tonight, an outstanding crowd here at the Acumen Stadium. I think it was pretty much sold out. They're seeing some exciting football. This Saints team is for real. And you know what? They're a couple wins away from having another perfect season and having home field advantage for the playoffs, which already looks pretty good for this team. Speaking of Saints sports, more Saints sports here on We Digital. Tomorrow afternoon, we'll be back at Micmac Stadium, Cullen Field. That's where the Saints men's baseball team will be in action. They'll take on Sioux College. Doubleheader starting at 12 noon. And then we get a little bit of a break for a couple of days, but Wednesday, we'll be back here at the Sports Park. Women's softball, they'll be in action against Fanshawe. This game has been rescheduled. They're going to play Wednesday on September 27th against Fanshawe. Game times are at 4 and 6 p.m. So a lot of great sports action coming up here with the Saints and also on We Digital Productions. Final score again here tonight. The Saints prevail 29-26 over the Ottawa Sooners. On behalf of the hard-working crew here at We Digital Productions, working behind the scenes and behind the cameras, I'd like to thank them for their hard work. I'd like to thank you at home for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast, and we'll see you all again soon. Take care, everybody.